Come along with me to see how our main character Vergdalis takes a devastating hit he cannot survive. The guidelines better than anyone, so conquering the entire world was just a matter of time. Right after, he sliced his hand to spill his blood onto the seed, telling Gordon that those foolish rules are absolute garbage. That moment, he remembers that the Aishan Kingdom is the sacred land of magic technology, a place that brings together the best heroes, mages, and alchemists on the continent. Because of that, here is where it gets risky, even while hiding his magic. The chance of being exposed is huge, so he searched for an unassuming shop. Gato shows him some jars filled with the exact powder he's been searching for, congratulating him on coming to the right place, since today only, this product has a special price of 1 gold coin per unit. Berg tells him to shut up because that price is absurd. Besides, real senile powder is green, so he wants to know why this batch is purple, and immediately explains that this is a newly developed, updated version. In fact, it was created in total secrecy by the wizards of the Magic Tower, which is why it isn't in the common market yet. If he doesn't buy now, he won't get it later. No matter how hard he looks, tons of people are trying to buy senile powder lately. But deep down, now pay attention here, because this is where everything gets wild. A massive tremor shakes the land as the seed sprouts and spins rapidly. He knows Berg is a noble with hidden motives for coming here, so he plans to completely rip him off and take every single penny. Instantly, Berg realizes this guy saw his desperation. He can't believe the nerve to scam him, seriously considering taking him out right there to avoid the hassle. Lucky for him, just at that moment, other customers walk in. The girl with pigtails doesn't understand why they had to visit such a dirty, run-down place. Saw his panicked face. Right. Berg breaks into a cold sweat, recognizing Princess Lois, while her guard remarks that if Roger had brains, he wouldn't be wandering around. Lois flies into a complete rage just hearing that name, since because of him, she has to lower herself to visit a miserable dump like this. Her guard goes straight to Gedison to tell him they are looking for someone, and this entire scene only confirms a massive truth. Princess Lois, but luckily she doesn't recognize him because last time he was wearing a magic mask. Gedison tells her that if he doesn't sell anything, he suffers from a terrible illness that wipes his memory. Berg reminds him that Arene is absolutely packed with heroes. This shameless remark makes Lois threaten him with a dagger for trying to scam her, but Gedison calmly reminds them that murder is illegal in the capital. If she plans to send him to the next life, she should buy something first, so he gladly accepts the stab. Absolutely nobody understood such madness. However, Lois bursts into laughter because now he seems like an incredibly funny guy, so she asks to see his merchandise. Gedison activates his scammer mode and presents Artsa powder, a product ideal for Dwarf Master smelters. And today only, the price is just 3 gold coins per unit. Berg cannot believe the audacity of this bastard, since just a few moments ago he claimed that very same garbage was senile powder. Lois falls right into the trap and immediately pays for the item, earning Gato's deep and totally fake gratitude. But now, Lois wants to know if he has recently seen a dwarf named Roger. Gedison confesses it is the first time he's ever heard that name. However, he mentions there is a shop called Leaf, far too many for his liking, which is exactly why the previous Demon Kings were completely wiped out in these lands. Right next to the Central Plaza, a famous landmark where all the blacksmiths hang out, so they will have a great shot at finding him there. Lois thanks him for the tip, apologizing to Berg for the embarrassing scene they just caused, and with nothing left to do, both dwarfs head out. Berg praises Gedison's sheer shamelessness for selling literal garbage for 3 gold coins, and Gedison, being the masterful con artist he is, thanks him deeply for keeping his mouth shut, since that was the only way he could swindle 3 gold coins from a rich noble girl. Seeing his interest, he offers to teach his tricks for 10 gold coins, and that is where we leave our great master of scams. Come with me on this journey, because even Verg was stunned by how shameless this con artist was. In fact, the guy openly admits that he absolutely loves ripping off humans. Since he loves a good scam, he demands a referral to the Golden Moon Guild to get sent to the mountain. Gedison immediately assumes the kid has some powerful connections, even though that place is already on the very brink of complete ruin. after destroying countless towers. He cannot understand why anyone with this much talent would go there. Berg tells him it is because he just scammed the dwarf princess herself, Lois Burt. Tetos drops his jaws in pure panic at that name. He is the executioner princess of the Burts, so he frantically begs Verg to shut his mouth. Berg firmly repeats that he must go straight to the guild, Moon Guild. In exchange, he offers 1 gold coin, but if he refuses, he will bring the princess right to him. Jato begs him not to bring that crazy woman, but then laughs it off. Really think he would fall for that? Believing it is a total lie, he kicks him out and challenges him to bring Princess Louise if he actually can. After all, a royal princess would never set foot in a dump like this. Berg simply turns around to leave, and just a few seconds later, watch closely because this is where it gets crazy. Lois bursts in furious while Verg just enjoys the show, leaving Jato completely frozen in terror. Instantly, the sound of brutal violence echoes through the shop. Humans cracked their game pattern and turned the Demon King rules against them. In this place, those old guidelines are useless. Next, he visits another shop and secures the real senile powder. Bill cannot believe how shameless that old con artist was, in a run-down shop on the outskirts. Lois approaches to thank him, since his tip helped her recover all of her money. Berg is pleased and curiously asks what she did to the owner. Lois clenches her fist in absolute frustration, deeply regretting that she only taught him a minor lesson, since they are in a foreign country she held back, though she truly wanted to rip his heart out for being a liar. Berg gets a little chilled seeing her usual madness, but that word heart sparks a crucial memory. He asks if this Roger she is hunting is a blacksmith. Also wants to know if he is linked to a specific item. Seeing it, the Guardian immediately recognizes the necklace as one of Roger's earliest works. Berg explains that 2 months ago. He ran into that filthy dwarf in the deep woods of Ormus, and seeing him starving, he decided to share some food. So a grateful Roger gifted him this necklace. Since it looked like a masterpiece, he decided to keep it. They should be called the hero rules instead. Harsh truth that left Gordon completely speechless. Lois feels he has come to her rescue yet again, and if it were up to her, she would love to invite him to drink for 5 straight days back at her palace, but she is currently far too busy. You and I both know calming her down is impossible, but she insists they must capture Roger immediately. So instead of drinks, she gives him a pass for the finest gear in the Dwarf Kingdom, which Verg gladly accepts. Guardian asks what their next move is, then suggests they quickly contact her father, since they will need heavy reinforcements to enter that forest. She is absolutely sure Roger will not escape this time. As they depart, Berg realizes he was so busy delaying the hero's expedition that this slipped his mind entirely. For his regression, Draxon discovered the heart of a spirit beast around this time and absorbed it, gaining overwhelming power. The newly crowned Demon King, he is still limited by dimensional interference. With the construction finished, Gordon steps out and cannot believe he actually built it here, though Verg orders him inside immediately. So if he fights Lois while she is fully armed in high-level legendary gear, he would only get a draw or a tight win. If he truly wants to exact revenge on the heroes and survive this world, he must boost his own combat strength. That is why he sent Lois to the Ormus Forest, home to the Beast Tower. While the furious Princess Lois battles Draxon, the Demon King of Beasts, he will steal the Spirit Heart and claim that massive energy. In Tower, after merging with Phantom Mana, it gained 2 brand new features: control over the structure and the instant delivery of items, and contacts Gordon to assign him a task, leaving the tower's automated defense systems in charge for now. Next, he must deliver this genuine senile powder to Princess Ernan, which is the key material needed to summon high-tier spirits. She is completely shocked to receive it, seeing its supreme rank and assuming it is Verg's work. Gordon warns her to use it carefully, stepping onto the first floor, obtained by the Demon King himself. Verg also orders a watch on Princess Cade on the 4th floor. Trust me, you and I are in for a wild ride. Come along with me, because today we are watching how this master sets a brutal condition for his student to learn swordsmanship before her big comeback. Midway through the training, Cade screamed in pure rage that they would regret pushing her this hard. Gordon blocked her strike effortlessly, telling her she should at least win once before talking back. Latest order from Verg demands placing the Hellforge on the first floor, so Gordon rushes to warn Roger to reinforce that area right away. And Roger went completely wild the second he laid his eyes on this brand new forge, since he had never seen anything like it, and now feels like a kid with a new toy, eager to see how it works. Gordon advised him to thank the Demon King himself for bringing him such a luxurious gift, which Roger did immediately, promising that he will craft the absolute best gear to please his lord. Meanwhile, Berg demands to know the current situation regarding the Pecule tribe. Gordon is deeply disappointed to find it empty, having expected complex architecture or rooms crawling with terrifying beasts. And Gordon reports they united 3 whole clans, doubling their current size and even successfully hunting down the terrifying mutant beasts of Urgist. Berg then orders him to manage the tower perfectly during his absence until he returns, a task Gordon proudly accepts, solemnly swearing that he will not dare to disappoint him. Berg thinks controlling the tower remotely is an incredibly convenient advantage, so he decides it is time to get in touch with Kill. Look at the crazy coincidence waiting for us, guys. Kill informs him that they have taken complete control of the Golden Moon Merchant Guild. It will now be run by a Mancatras alongside the Dark Knights and Mages. Star Hero, the leader of the group, backed the entire operation. The merchant protected his own son, proving that a simple setback will not ruin this warrior's grand reputation. Virgil congratulates them on the success and orders him to tell Granada they will use Golden Moon funds to buy up all the elven slaves on this continent. He plans to send another ally to the guild. He absorbed the deep sorrow and rage of countless warriors and civilians, becoming the strongest demon king alive. Instead, this building completely lacks any of the advantages fitting for the grand power of a demon king. This is Hedison, a highly slippery con artist who is very useful, so they must squeeze every bit of value out of him, revealing that he had the nerve to scam Princess Louise herself. The poor guy is shaking in panic to avoid being caught. Verge pretended he had not seen him, but alerted Kirill, who already holds the entire file on this criminal, and if he does not report within a month, he will send an assassin to wipe him off the map. Jetos held back his tears in absolute silence, and when Verg finally left, he slammed his head against the table in sheer terror. On the other hand, Granada was stunned to see that Verg would free his people from slavery, agreeing to gather them quickly. I know what you are thinking, it sounds like good news, but it gives him a bad feeling. His people falling into the hands of the Demon King, who will surely use them as spies just like he did with him, and that makes his blood boil. Knowing that Virgil planned this on purpose, Ordinate asked the vice captain why they had to train in elven swordsmanship. He reminded him there is no other choice since Granada is hundreds of years ahead of them, and things do not get better upstairs, since the 5th floor only has Verg's throne. There is no turning back now. Right then, the youth notices that Granada is distracted, the perfect moment to escape. It was their former captain, so if he flees, everyone will follow. And with that in mind, they begin their silent escape, while Granada reflects that he will not allow his race to suffer and perish under the whip of humans. Considering everything, the deal offered by the Demon King is 1,000 times better. He immediately uses his elven magic to trap the fleeing vice captain, who begs for forgiveness and pleads not to be embarrassed in front of the troops. He does not understand why he only captured him. Cargill calls to find out what the commotion is about, but Granada assures him nothing is wrong and asks what Verg plans next, something Cargill does not know for sure, since Berg only mentioned he was on the trail of a treasure. Shortly after, in the jungle kingdom of Ormus, Princess Louise marches furiously while her guardian informs her about an ultimatum issued by the kingdom demanding she withdraw her troops. She flatly refuses because they still have not found Roger but her protector. They cannot change the location, but at least they can still follow rule number 2 of the protocol. He reminds her they searched everywhere, but trust me, you and I know Louise insists they missed the key Tower of Beasts. The guard warns her that crossing is impossible, since it is the personal domain of the Beast King, demon of the beasts and sheer suicide. although Louise does not seem to care about that at all. She knows they will not dare. Every nation relying on their weapons will declare war. 200 years ago, they harmed a dwarf prince, and as a result, a demon king was wiped off the earth. And that is a terrifying warning that nobody in this world will ever forget. Stick with me here, because the Guardian is terrified that Roger is not even here, and it is all a trap. He suspects they were played by that bizarre guy they met back in the Hakan Kingdom. Lois knows, but she demands obedience anyway. If he hesitates, she will take his head before moving forward. With no other choice, the Guardian yields. Meanwhile, over at the Beast Tower, panicked demons rush to tell Draxen that Princess Lois is already closing in on the mountain. This rule demands kidnapping a royal family member, preferably close to the throne, to channel their immense dark energy, a move that leaves Draxen completely baffled since it makes absolutely no sense. Wonders if she wants to steal the spirit beast's heart, but quickly dismisses that because their security is incredibly tight. Mana inside the volcanic lava is an insane power he would not trade for 10,000 eternal essences. He absorbs it. The ultimate destructive force is his. The excavation is finally wrapping up, making this massive complication incredibly bad timing. He orders his forces to block the princess, but they cannot harm or kill her under any circumstance. Still, the butler gets nervous knowing how tough that will be. Right then, soldiers intercept Princess Lois and demand her retreat. This is the Demon King's land, and trespassing is strictly forbidden. Besides, her own royal palace should have warned her about the massive risk of getting wiped out by demons, revealing the speaker as Max Ormus, second Prince of Ormus. Lois warns him that nobody touches her, telling him to back off, so he advises Verg to look into the kingdom closest to the Urgest Mountains. He has to find Roger, but Max sneers mockingly. Pay attention here, because this guy just insulted her intelligence. 200 years ago, during the legendary war, the Jespine Kingdom, which bordered the Demon King's castle, made insane profits by selling vital supplies to the heroes. Fueled by that massive mountain of gold, Jespine quickly grew into a highly powerful empire, and if she dies at the hands of the Demon King's men, simple, they want to kill her and shift the blame. They will blame the demons so Ormus can line its pockets with war profits, throwing Lois into an absolute rage. Max boasts that it is finally his family's turn to get incredibly rich off this conflict, ordering his men to execute everyone immediately for the sake of his kingdom. Lois grips her heavy axe without backing down a single step, calling them all cowards. Butler realizes what is happening. He alerts Draxen, who knows he must stop them. Furious, he curses Ormus for trying to kill Lois and blame them, aiming to trigger another massive war like 200 years ago. He must capture the crown princess, because the pain and rage of her kingdom will fuel the tower's growth. He quickly commands all of his beasts and demons to stop Max. Princess Lois must survive at all costs. There is absolutely no margin for error. Failure is not an option. Meanwhile, Ormus soldiers charge mercilessly, forcing the dwarves to lock their shields to block incoming spears and shield Lois. Her guardian warns her that this brutal terrain completely favors their enemies, leaving them with zero options for a direct fight, so they will focus on clearing an escape route for her. Lois is highly frustrated and wants to take them all on herself, but her guardian insists that it is impossible right now, and she must stay calm. The shield wall leaves a small gap exposing Lois, and Max laughs at them for hiding like helpless turtles. He plans to finish this whole thing with one swift blow. Only you and I can feel that crushing evil energy. Max senses the demonic power and wonders if Draxen's troops have arrived. To his absolute surprise, Verg agrees instantly. Actually, he already has a specific princess in mind. Instead, Virgil appears, coldly noting that this sudden attack from Ormus was definitely not in his plans. Human schemes are highly complex. The arrival alarms everyone, realizing he is no ordinary demon. Virgil warns Max that his life ends today, unleashing an even greater wave of demonic power. All of this while wearing a face-concealing mask. Max warns his men about the high-ranking demon. He will hold him off while they take out the princess. That plan completely fails as a furious Lois tears through his soldiers for daring to ignore her. Max cannot believe a dwarf can move this fast, so he decides to handle this crazy princess first. Virgil paralyzes him completely using his terrifying demonic energy. Terrified by the demon's overwhelming power that crushed him so easily, Max gets split in half by Lois's axe. He is left highly confused as that dark energy suddenly vanishes without a single trace. Gordon offers to escort him, but Verg refuses because the tower cannot be left unattended. This deeply moves his servant, who thinks his master is still a great sovereign, though she must still finish off the rest. Stay with me, because she plans to send them straight to Prince Max. Watch as these dwarves load up their heavy crossbows to save their princess, while Berg watches from a distance, knowing full well that Lois will not die that easily. Now they just wait for Draxen to take the bait. 5 minutes ago, at the Tower of Beasts, Draxen grew alarmed upon sensing a strange, demonic energy, which his servant also immediately detected, and they knew it was not their own people. It means another demon king sent intruders into his territory, and with that massive level of power, they must be high-ranking officers. Interestingly, demon spies infiltrate right during Lois and Max's clash. This timing is suspiciously perfect, so please pay close attention here. Arriving at the scene, he asks the guard about the dwarf princess, since bodies litter the ground everywhere, and a wolf reports that Lois is surrounded by Ormus soldiers, thinking he was just stressed from his recent promotion. Intrigued, Draxen is absolutely terrified thinking about what happens if the princess dies today. Remembering that brutal war from 200 years ago, he knows he would not survive this time. The wolf explains they tried saving her when cornered, but the princess slaughtered every single enemy entirely on her own, showing a level of brutality that left even the dwarves shaking. He apologizes for failing her. Draxen smacks them for the useless scare, while his men ask what to do with the surviving Ormus soldiers. End of the day, Max was eliminated by Princess Lois, and knows that if they finish him, they will blame him directly for the prince's death. It is an easy chance to farm demonic energy, but capturing versus killing brings very different consequences. Even if Ormus is weak, if they go wild over Max's death, it will become a massive problem. So he orders their immediate release. That way, the soldiers can testify to the absolute truth, freeing him of all blame. I know what you are thinking, but Verg actually confesses he is traveling to the furthest kingdom of all. Next, he wants to find out if they located those mysterious hidden demon intruders. His minions found absolutely nothing, and gets furious because they are both incredibly stupid and completely useless at tracking. Though he remembers that high-ranking demons often specialize in advanced stealth techniques. I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, because now Draxen will track them using his extreme sensory boost, a powerful technique concentrating demonic energy into sensory organs to sharpen them. With enough training, this method even allows detection of invisible magic traces. Immediately, he manages to detect the trail of an unknown demon, assuming it followed the dwarf princess, but noticed the trail veered toward the volcano. To be sure, he asks where Lois went, to which his men point in the opposite direction. Draxen bolts at full speed, realizing another demon king is pulling the strings, and that clash was just a distraction, which is why he cannot understand how he just lost. The southernmost nation on the entire continent, the kingdom of Hildren, they leaked that energy on purpose to lure him away from the volcano. Demon King who sent those minions has a very clear target, something he has fought for ages, the coveted heart of the spirit beast. Meanwhile, Berg has no doubt that this volcano's lava is abnormal, since the spirit beast's power reaches all the way here. No matter how tough Draxen is, diving in is suicide. This is why they are working hard to drain it. It belongs to the black fire dragons, whose scales allow him to swim in magma. Suddenly, a giant creature emerges to attack him, but Berg stops it with extreme ease, knowing a high-ranking demon would detect him. Luckily, it arrived just in time to join him for a warm bath, dragging it directly into the magma, where the beast burns to the bone in a second. Berg, however, is perfectly fine. Remembering how Draxen obtained insane regeneration in his past life, trust me, you and I need to watch this closely. Arriving there, he slips through the window of a blonde girl, the 13th princess, to tell her he is kidnapping her. Pure madness that would infuriate Gordon for breaking the rules again. Let's dive in and see how he uncovers the truth about this divine creature. Staring at the phoenix body, everything clicks at the academy. He read ancient records about these creatures existing across different dimensions. Sacred beast can cross between worlds, carrying a divine status and power that changes depending on its specific type. One rule always remains constant. Any demon king who absorbed a phoenix's power became an absolute legend in the history of the kingdom, and for that we can thank Draxen. Watch as our main character returns to the past to claim the ultimate power he coveted in his previous life. In this second chance at life, he won't waste a second before fully absorbing the Phoenix Heart. Meanwhile, Draxen suspected Verg might be behind this, but quickly dismissed him as a mere rookie. After all, besides his basic tower minions, Verg had no high-ranking demon serving under him. The princess, completely unfazed, asks if he truly believes he can handle. There was no way a beginner demon king could bypass his defenses, which were incredibly tough. Soon after, minions watched in utter shock as he ran past, furiously shoving anyone who got in his way. He secretly suspected Solon and Belbeck, ruled them out since Belbeck is an idiot, and Soldain is an ice queen incompatible with fire, meaning Phoenix fire is poison to her. Now pay attention, only one suspect could pull this off. In the volcanic crater, he demanded to know if the heart was secure, and his guards confirmed it. Except just moments earlier, the guardian tiger had leapt straight into the boiling lava for no reason. This panicked Draxen, who tried to dive into the magma to save his prize, but his troops held him back from burning alive. Suddenly, the lava surged wildly as the massive power of the Phoenix burst forth, becoming visible to the entire world. Even Lise, Granada, Carhill, and Princess Hernan could see that blinding light radiating from far away. This throws Verg off, since the young girl seemingly looks at demon kings as some sort of joke, and exploded in pure rage, convinced that wretched Jason stole his treasure, completely blind to the power Verg had actually unleashed. Sometime later, deep within a dense forest, Verg woke up totally disoriented and lost. He soon remembered trying to store the Phoenix Heart in his pocket dimension, to absorb it safely back in his tower. Instead, the Phoenix spirit mana reacted to him and merged with his body, blasting him far away in a colossal volcanic explosion. The strangest part was how the wild forest animals approached him with total trust, completely ignoring that he was a demon king. This left him with a bizarre sensation, as if he was no longer himself. Staring at his reflection in the water, he gasped as he noticed his hair had turned a vibrant, burning red. Meanwhile, back at the royal palace of Ormus, Louis went to deliver the tragic news about Max and his fallen warriors, who died protecting them from the Beast King's minions. The king silenced him, declaring he had raised his son to be a brave and noble warrior. He replies it will be easy. After all, he is the actual demon king. Dying in battle protecting others was the highest honor, or so he wanted to believe before his crushing grief took over. He immediately ordered the guild to assemble a massive hero expedition and eliminate Draxen once and for all. Imagine their shock when a highly confused Cargill asked Verg who he actually was. Verg replied that he was still the boss, explaining that his look had changed due to some chaotic events before demanding the report. Cargill reported that, just as expected, a hero task force was being organized under the direct order of the King of Ormus. However, she added that the captain chosen to lead this assault was an elite woman named Rosal, a 10-star hero and battle mage who is a complete expert in fire magic. And the vice captain is another 10-star powerhouse named Belaf, brute force monster leading a force of 500 members, with 200 of them being elite heroes. The single goal is to crush the Beast King, gathering in Ormus before launching a direct assault on his tower. He agrees to leave without any resistance, making him immediately suspicious of what she is plotting by being so submissive. To Verg, 200 heroes sounded like a laughably small number. Cargill reminded him that Rosal and Belaf are the only 10 stars, yet he still finds it pathetic. And that certain shadow factions actually want the Beast King alive, interfering to block the dispatch of truly powerful warriors. Verg immediately understood to humans, a demon king's tower is nothing but a gold mine overflowing with precious treasures. They even use demon bodies for magic, and you and I are about to see what happens next. Alright, Let's dive in. That tower is a massive cash cow, so its total collapse does not suit them at all. Even in things that seem simple, hidden agendas are always at play, proving human society is highly complex. So he ordered Cargill to join that journey. He will personally expose the Beast Demon King's major weakness to finish him off himself, since his real plan is to absorb all his power. That way, he becomes the only hero capable of defeating two demon kings, earning the absolute trust of all humanity. The girl confesses that, being born a princess, she always knew this day would come. But Verg warns her not to play games with him. Move. Cargill thanked him. Getting stronger is not everything, and Verg made it clear he will never know if he can truly defeat him, because absorbing another demon king will change absolutely nothing. Cargill, pale with fear, obeyed instantly, just before Gordon called Verg terrified because he did not know who that guy was. Verg grew furious seeing the exact same reaction Cargill had, ordering him to get straight to the point already. So Gordon announced the Beast Tower was ready to call an emergency meeting among demon kings, surprising Verg. Meanwhile, at the tower itself, Draxen welcomed Velbeck, who wanted to know why they called him so suddenly, while Soldine thought the place smelled absolutely awful. Draxen asked them to go up and wait for him there, and to ascend with the final guest, though he was secretly furious with Verg and Jason, wondering if they simply needed more time to sort out their own thoughts. If her plan was to make him lower his guard, she was wasting her time, as he would not be fooled so easily. Verg arrived late, trust me. He would go straight onto his hit list to be eliminated. That exact moment, Verg began flying at full speed, having been way too overconfident just moments ago. Gordon believed this was unnecessary since they were already in the Ormus Kingdom, making it easy to reach the Beast Tower without using their own portal. Not do that, surprising Gordon because it meant returning to their tower, which Verg confirmed, saying they would discuss it later. Figured if he arrived on foot, Draxen would realize he had been lingering around this whole time, look highly suspicious, but arriving late would also give him away. He now was reaching his tower to use the portal with Gordon and reach the Beast Tower. However, at this current pace, he would not make it. He would end up arriving a few minutes late, forcing himself to accelerate with all his remaining strength. Now pay attention here, his phoenix heart reacted automatically, releasing a massive amount of mana he did not plan to use. The princess makes it clear she is hiding nothing. Did not even know he was coming today, so planning ahead was impossible. Realized his heart was actually alive, which explained why animals had been gathering around him for so long. With this newly awakened power, his speed increased insanely, to the point of feeling too fast, and in a matter of seconds, he crashed straight into his own tower. Luckily, the structure did not take any damage, thanks to his strong protective barrier. Verg made it just in time, but he knows he must be careful with this power until he tames the phoenix. Fortunately, the phoenix exhausted its energy and fell asleep, so he told Gordon to come down immediately, since they had to leave for the Beast Tower right away. Shifting scenes, we go back to Ormus, where heroes are falling for Rosal, who mastered magic at just 5 years old, becoming the current idol of the Magic Tower. Many approached to greet her, calling it an honor, but she blew them away, calling them utterly useless, revealing that she is the captain of the elite assault squad known as Dawn Flame. Verg admits she has a point, but he still feels an uncomfortable sense of distrust in his chest. Another member advised her to watch her words more carefully, since the squad's reputation was slowly falling apart. Still, Rosal insists everyone is useless, failing to understand how she plans to attack the Beast Tower with such totally incompetent fools. It might sound extremely weird, but they actually cheered at the insult, right when Cargill himself appeared to shock everyone, who is still admired as a 10-star hero despite his recent embarrassing failure, mentioning it had been a while, revealing he came to join and contribute to this heroic journey. Rosal found it hilarious that he showed no shame at all, noticing right away that he was no longer wearing a ring, assuming he threw it away with no elves around. Cargill suggested leaving that touchy subject for later, though inside he cursed the fact she was the only hero who knew the real truth about his victory over the Lust Demon King. If that woman opened her mouth, his reputation would be ruined forever. And trust me, you and I know he only came because of Verg's direct orders. The hero mocked him, saying all demon kings do this, digging their own graves and acting shocked at the end. Berg screamed that it was total nonsense. The girl, with absolute calm, asks him to start the journey already. Stick with me because Rosal lets this slide. He wants to be the one to kill the beast demon king, warning him to keep his filthy hands off her prey. Cargill, flashing a massive fake smile, agrees to give her complete freedom to do whatever she wants, knowing he will be the one to claim the beast demon king's head. Later they link their portal to Draxon's territory, arriving at the exact same moment as Jason, and welcomes them just in time to enter the tower, making everyone wonder why Verg is acting so incredibly calm, composure on the outside. Stepping into the top floor of the Tower of Beasts, right on schedule for this emergency meeting. Belbeck immediately demands to know what emergency was serious enough to call for this sudden meeting. Meanwhile, Jason mentions hearing rumors about the heroes' party gathering over in Ormus, as it is all connected, so Draxon decides to cut straight to the chase without wasting another second. Later, they arrive at the tower in the middle of the Urgist Mountains, where Gordon welcomes them, and Verg orders the princess to stay on the 4th floor. He reveals that a demon king in this very room sent a minion to steal the phoenix corpse he wanted to absorb. To make matters worse, that bastard killed the second prince of Ormus, triggering the terrifying hero expedition. Hearing this, it is obvious Belbeck had absolutely no idea Draxon was secretly hiding a phoenix. Draxon warns that this traitor likely killed the dwarf princess too, hoping to spark a massive war across the entire continent. Golden and Jason believe that losing such a powerful spirit beast to careless mistakes is incredibly foolish. Evoking the heroes proves that this traitor is determined to destroy Draxon at all costs. Draxon knows they want him dead, warns he won't fall easily since he will buy the black box key to expose and crush that damn traitor. Now pay attention here, because every single tower hides a black box recording its deepest secrets, logs every move of the demon kings, designed to analyze mistakes and plan much better invasions later. Confuses Gordon, since they were supposed to lock her in the dungeon, but Verg explains she cooperated without a single complaint. Get this, nobody ever bothers to use it because it drains a massive amount of precious energy. Since the logs wipe if a tower falls, absolutely nobody cares about it these days. They see it as useless junk, and honestly, Berg had not even considered that possibility. Draxon opens it, Berg is done for, as the other demon kings will unite to purge him instantly, and explains he needs the consent of the other tower kings, knowing that only the actual culprit would ever dare to oppose this idea. Virgil curses silently. This traps him completely, especially since Soldane and Jason are already giving their full approval. Belbeck follows suit, giving his final consent to the plan. Pleased with the deal, Draxon promises to reveal the results right after crushing the hero's famous expedition force, so he decided to show a little bit of mercy to his new prisoner. And with that, the tense meeting finally comes to an end. I know what you are thinking, that price is crazy. 9,999,999 energy points. For now, Draxon must focus on fighting the heroes, won't risk wasting all his points on that key just yet. But if the heroes fail and peace returns, he will instantly open Jason's and Berg's boxes. So Berg must kill Draxon to save himself, but first he decides to check on his own tower to assess the situation. Gordo confirms all preparations are complete, so Virgil heads down, where Roger is waiting eagerly beside a devastating magic cannon forged in hell itself. Name this deadly weapon the Infernal Catapult Model 1. Being like the absolute boss of this floor, he proudly shows Virgil this destructive masterpiece he never expected to actually see built in his lifetime, and gets the idea. Now get ready, because you and I are about to watch how she survives in this cold room. Thanks to the Hellforge, cannon fires elemental attacks and features a mobile system, allowing it to navigate across the entire battlefield completely without effort. Projectiles are pure mana bullets, which carry multiple elements, absorb surrounding mana, and boast automatic defense, concentrated bursts, and the incredible ability to target multiple enemies at once. In evasion and rapid fire, you and I just witnessed a truly legendary weapon. Alright, let's dive in. Virgil gave him creative freedom, but now he seriously doubts Roger's sanity. Gordo admits he might have lost his mind, but this tech masterpiece performance is absolutely unreal. Though worried, Virgil lets him run free, excited to see exactly how far this mad scientist's craziness will go. Roger immediately drops to his knees, worshipping him like a living god, despite him being a demon king. Meanwhile, on the second floor, Princess Keed attacks furiously, swearing they will regret training her like this. He immediately notices the cold stone, realizing there is absolutely nothing there. No blankets, no servants, and definitely no garden. Virgil stops the strike with one hand. Get ready, because a legendary battle is coming up. Brace yourselves, because Keed is now unleashing her elite Jespine combat technique, the ultimate lunar tide rupture. Berg admits she has improved a bit, needs way more training to be a real threat. This leaves Cade frozen in fear, as her best move is utterly destroyed. And to top it off, she gets thrashed for being so arrogant. Absolutely crushed. Berg asks why Cade is on the second floor. Gordo explains Princess Hannon is on the fourth floor preparing the summoning, so they had to leave Cade there temporarily. Closely, this mysterious summon completely grabs Verg's full attention. Meanwhile, spirits are celebrating happily, showing that Hernan has already used up all that precious senile powder. On her end, pours all her energy into the summoning spell, calling out to the great water spirit, offering her blood and soul to make a divine contract with him. Come along with me, this place looks nothing like the kingdom, but he feels it is not too bad, begs her to answer her call, finally summoning the legendary high-ranking water spirit, Nair Uniel, who is shocked that someone actually manifested her. Realizing they are in the Demon King's tower, she praises Hernan's incredible talent for summoning such a powerful entity. Now, by the ancient primordial pact, she, the great water spirit, declares the human Hernan Hilderan as her ultimate soulmate. Suddenly, a giant flash of light floods the room, leaving Hernan floating in the water before she suddenly starts falling from a terrifying height. And check this out, Verg dashes in from out of nowhere to catch her. Hernan barely opens her eyes from sheer exhaustion, while Verg just smiles, completely mesmerized by this beautiful view. Hernan tells him it is nothing, explaining it was all thanks to that senile powder she got. But then she suddenly blurts out, "I love you," and she's left completely confused by her own words. Immediately clarifies to Verg that she didn't say that, even though it sounded exactly like her voice. Meanwhile, Gordon reveals they got an invitation from the Tower of Bars for a welcoming party, but Verge does not buy it at all. She had no such intentions. This is when Verg realizes she summoned a highly troublesome spirit. Nair Uniel starts giggling, admitting that the words just slipped out. Genuinely loves the Demon King, bluntly asking them when they will finally become a couple. Turns out this high-ranking spirit's hobby is reading romance novels, and her favorite trope is forbidden love, which fits these two perfectly. Berg has no idea why she is talking nonsense, while Hernan is dying of embarrassment with a bright red face, demanding answers from the spirit. Nair Uniel reveals that the romance between the Demon King and the princess is already rumored in the spirit realm. Naturally, couldn't miss out on this gossip, so she asks if they are dating or still just flirting. Hernan, totally embarrassed, demands that she leave, but Nair Uniel flatly refuses because she was just summoned after a very long time. Since it is probably just a pathetic attempt to mess with the newcomer, Berg approaches the spirit, asking how she sees the situation, and Nair Uniel replies she sees a handsome demon king completely charming the princess. Berg activates his phoenix form to repeat the question, wanting to know her true magical perspective. And wow, Nair Uniel is left speechless, seeing that this dark mass of energy now holds extremely pure mana. Even thinks he is a spirit and not a demon king. Berg absolutely loves hearing that, since in this form, his aura is so different it even deceives a high spirit. The demon kings will never know it's him. This he can fight the beast demon king face to face, without fearing his true identity will be exposed. These words completely shock Hernan, hearing that one demon king plans to wipe out another of his kind. But then he flies out of the tower at top speed, sending Gordo into a total panic upon learning Verg wants to destroy Draxon, something unheard of for a demon king. And that's where we leave Verg calmly explaining the entire situation. Demon kings are too proud to team up, though Arryn is a completely unprecedented factor here. Gordo reminds him he only asked where he was rushing off to from the tower. Trust me on the saying he was just going to kill Draxon is not a logical explanation at all. Still completely lost. while Berg assumed he would stop questioning his decisions by now. Still, Gordo warns him this is different, and if the other Demon Kings find out about this absolute madness, they will wipe him out instantly. And here is the catch. Berg explains that unless they kill Draxen before he opens his tower's black box, there will be absolutely no escape. What do you think happens next? Gordo finally understands the real reason. Dimensions is pure suicide. Of Arryn violently repels any outsider, and there are absolutely no exceptions. Gets slammed with sheer violence, completely crushed under the weight of that massive dimensional pressure. Even demon lords get their power suppressed, plummeting hard from level 66 all the way to level 1. This leaves them completely defenseless compared to when they were ruling inside their own demon realm. Pay attention here, the hero points out that they always kidnap famous princesses and leave obvious clues to be found, forcing them to set their pride aside and start working together. Dimension chooses its own heroes to deal with these weakened invaders. That is the natural law ruling this world. Watch closely to bypass this dimensional shield and launch an invasion. They built the massive Demon King Tower, direct link supplying dark energy from the demon realm to their lord and vassals. Using it with demonic power, they can draw more energy from the abyss, letting the Demon King fully restore his original godlike power. In simple terms, the height of the tower directly represents the Demon King's actual power level. Gordon warns Berg that the further he travels from his own tower, the weaker his power gets. To make matters worse, Draxen's tower has 13 floors. Keep in mind that Berg's tower only has 5 floors, and for a Demon King, victory is never guaranteed on enemy turf. Berg knows this all too well, and though he absorbed the mystical heart of the Phoenix, still cannot control this massive power. Facing another Demon King head-on right now would get him completely crushed. In his past life, he ignored them as weak-minded fools, but this time he will try to be nice and socialize more. Of course, that is, if he fights alone. His actual plan is to go undercover as a warrior named Fail, teaming up with the heroes to speed things up. Meanwhile, on the front lines, a demon fell in battle right before his allies' eyes, crushed by the heroes' relentless assault, who decided to pull back after seeing the enemy forces start their retreat. You and I both know something is wrong when Berg suddenly shows up asking why everyone looks so completely exhausted. Also strictly ordered him to call him Fail in public. Cargill explained that after finally gathering enough brave warriors, they all charged into battle with one single goal: to conquer the Beast Tower once and for all. Following his instructions, they targeted Draxen's weak spot, his tail, successfully weakening him thanks to that crucial intel. When he asked Rassel to deliver the finishing blow, he was shocked to find her severely wounded from the clash. She had even lost her left eye, leaving them in a highly critical situation. Before long, they arrive at the Tower of Beasts to meet Draxen, the Demon Beast King. Draxen managed to recover, forcing to flee, while their cowardly leader blamed the wounded Rassel for the disastrous failure. I know what you are thinking. Yeah, the raid was a total disaster. Berg realized everything had fallen apart catastrophically, and he turned pale, knowing the enemy was planning to wipe out everything in their path. Cargill revealed that despite their heavy losses, they severely wounded Draxen, forcing him to retreat and nurse his injuries. They also cleared out plenty of minions, giving Berg hope to finish Draxen off before he can reclaim his tower. Boom the mission right away. Still, Berg was highly suspicious of Russell's severe injuries and demanded to know what that coward Bellof was doing instead of protecting her. Russell suddenly appeared to reveal the truth, explaining that the coward fled the battlefield right before the assault even began. And it is all because Belaf's wealthy sponsors are the very ones profiting from the existence of that cursed tower. He was supposedly there to help, but deliberately showed up late just to watch the entire expedition fail miserably. Welcomes them by boasting that he has ruled this place for 70 years. Berg had heard this guy mock traditions, but up close, he seems completely mediocre. Even so, Berg asked her if she planned to try again. Russell nodded in pure rage, and she refused to back down after losing an eye in such a humiliating way. Bill reminded her they had far too many wounded, and their healing potions were completely dried up. Another try seems impossible right now, but you're going to want to see why he smiles at this setback. If they lack potions, he has more than enough in his pocket dimension. Alright, You and I are diving right into the action where these special potions he prepared for the heroes won't regrow lost limbs, will definitely restore their strength to keep fighting. Still, Russell has no idea who this mysterious ally is or why he is helping them so much. On top of that, she feels an incredibly strange warmth radiating from inside those bottles. She admits she has never seen healing magic this pure and holy. Berg almost speaks up, but seeing the wounded warriors completely broken and defeated, he chooses to stay quiet. They simply cannot find the will to fight on their own. Berg demands to know why he was summoned, and Draxen replies that Archduke Arcane ordered him to watch him closely the moment he arrived. Let us see if Berg can lead these warriors to crush Draxen. Phoenix's heart roars deep inside him, and our epic journey to reclaim the throne is only just beginning. And suddenly, get ready, because we are about to see those fallen heroes stunned by that warm light. Even Cargill and Rosal are speechless, especially her, since she has never witnessed anything like this before. Virgil finally reveals his identity, announcing that the Phoenix Master has returned to destroy the Beast Demon King. Completely shocks Rosal, since the mythical Phoenix is just a legend to her. This man is the source of that overwhelming sky-covering power, boasting mana worthy of 10-star heroes. No one knows where this powerhouse came from, but everyone sensing this force reached the exact same conclusion. With Virgil on their side, they finally have a real shot at taking down the Beast Demon King. Soon after, Draxen admits he did not expect to waste so much energy restoring his tower. Now pay close attention here, because he only got one key to unlock that bastard's black box first. Berg instantly realizes he's talking about that loud, annoying old vampire. We'll open the rest later, but upon opening this mystery box, secret details about the Demon King began to unfold, revealing information that left him completely frozen in shock. Felt pure terror seeing the truth, since altering the contents of the black box is completely impossible. He never expected such a dark secret and must alert the other Demon Kings of this crisis immediately. Suddenly a loud crash echoes. His butler reports that the heroes have breached the tower, and this time a new 10-star warrior is leading their charge. He is none other than Ralph Smith, spearheading the front lines. He is also a prominent guild leader. First, let's head back to Ormus, right when Virgil released his Phoenix. This fired up the heroes' morale, making them vow to finally put an end to the Beast Demon King. After all, legendary Phoenix itself is with them. Virgil knows it is a great sign, but still lacks confidence to defeat Draxen. These bold words shock Draxen deeply. Controlling the Phoenix mana in battle is still tough, so he warns Rosal and Cargill that this is not enough, so he wants to strengthen the squad. You and I are in luck here, because Rosal reveals a massive hero just arrived on the battlefield. Virgil recognized him instantly. The legendary 10-star hero Ralph, known as the absolute strongest shield master alive, who is currently holding back the relentless savage beast wave single-handedly. Suddenly he slams his split shield together, causing a smiling face to gather raw energy before unleashing a massive roar that completely vaporizes every single beast at the gates. Virgil remembers clearly that Ralph is the second best 10-star tank in the world. Shield does not just block attacks, it reflects them, making him an incredibly annoying opponent to deal with. He was one of those bastards who defeated and mocked him in his previous life. He wants to crush him right now, but he has to hold back, as defeating Draxen is his main priority, since it takes serious guts to speak about the Archduke that way. Rosal mentions that Ralph literally just arrived after spearheading the very first wave of attacks, and if they wait just a bit longer, they could win without losing a single soldier, thanks to their presence. Virgil praises her positive attitude, though he warns her never to underestimate a Demon King's sheer power. Rosal does not understand his grim warning, but he explains these monsters always keep a trump card and will use it without hesitation, especially when they are on the brink of death. Secretly, he suspects Draxen already restored his tower and got that mystery key. Even so, his dark energy will not stop this raid, which will force the beast to reveal his hidden trump card. Back in the present, we are on the 13th floor of the tower, where the heroes finally stand face to face with Draxen. None of the raiders understand why the Demon King is entirely alone, especially after the lower floors were crawling with minions. Draxen curses them, since he never expected them to strike so fast, forcing him to postpone major plans just to crush this annoying raid. He then throws down a half-eaten piece of meat, demanding he lick it to apologize for his rudeness. Rosal panics upon sensing a colossal buildup of dark energy, instantly realizing why the entire floor is completely empty. Draxen swallows an orb, revealing that he sacrificed every single minion just to harvest this unbelievable amount of raw power. Virgil recalls that, as a rule, a demon king always positions his strongest monsters on the highest floors of his tower. Draxen used that to drain the life force of those top-tier minions, fully recovering his lost energy in seconds. And trust me, you and I are about to see this furious demon roar, swearing to erase them from existence forever. The and I are about to witness one of the most brutal revenge battles ever. The heroes froze seeing this massive power surge, while Draxen let out a tower-shaking war cry. Instantly, his entire body was engulfed by that massive newly gained strength. Several heroes rushed in to stop his transformation, completely ignoring their allies' desperate warning to back off before it was too late. Right then, Berg acts like he has no idea why he was sent, but Draxen calls him a fool, knowing he mocked the sacred rules of the Demon Kings. They realized the warning was dead on. Destructive demonic wave erupted in all directions, blasting the warriors back with insane force, including Ralph himself, not about to stand down. The Crusader quickly assembled his magic shield to deflect the brutal blow, redirecting that massive energy blast straight back at the terrifying Draxen. The villain possessed so much dark energy he swatted Ralph's counterattack away with a single hand, completely unbothered, shocked everyone there. Because pulling that off with such ease made absolutely zero sense. Watch closely as Draxen stepped forward, dominating, unveiling the true form of the Beast Demon King. The oppressive, pure dark aura immediately began suffocating the lower-ranked warriors with absolute terror. Instantly, several fell to their knees, gasping for breath, as if the heavy pressure had turned the very air around them into poison. Right then, the phoenix wings flared to life, deploying a high-level magic defense barrier, the sacred shield of the phoenix, bringing back hope as everyone saw Berg unleash his legendary power. That is the dumbest move possible, because if he were in their shoes, Berg points out that, according to their rules, demon kings are strictly forbidden from killing each other, earning their eternal gratitude. Berg knows he cannot let Draxen gather more dark energy, so he blocks that toxic mist to keep everyone safe. And finally, time for the 10-star heroes to take action. 3 of them crossed the defensive barrier instantly, ready to fight. Then noticed only 4 people could move freely under his intense demonic pressure. One of them seemed incredibly annoying to him, meaning that dangerous redhead who, upon closer look, completely put him on edge, since that bold woman showed zero fear and started shouting Berg's name out loud. Fueled by pure rage, the Demon King lunged forward, furious that she did not just steal the phoenix, but now dared to invade his tower. I know what you're thinking, is he getting exposed? But Berg activated soundproofing magic, controlling every noise to keep his true identity hidden. Just as the Demon King reached them, Roselle thanked Berg for the assist, since the silence cancelled out the enemy roars, letting her cast spells in peace. Now pay attention here, stomping his foot. He asks if he seriously intends to follow that ridiculous rule. Suddenly, powerful high-level magic chains tore straight through Draxen's body, just scoffed, calling it a cheap trick that could never stop him. He shattered the chains easily, forcing Berg to dodge a deadly strike. The monster warned him this would not be a fight, but an absolute massacre, and he would be the first to die. Berg just laughed in his face, replying that he could not hear him over all that barking. And that is how the silent spell hit Draxen directly, making the demon even more furious at the traitorous Berg. The allies watched in pure agony, terrified their savior would get caught and torn apart by the dread beast ruler. His fierce onslaughts tore everything apart, and the fight's speed was so absurd that Roselle could not even aim her spells at him. Cargill yelled at her not to worry, saying her only focus was to stick to the plan Berg made. In time, Draxen roared that he did not get all this showboating, but he would not waste time trying to understand a total lunatic. His terrifying aura completely frightens Draxen, who nervously confesses that Archduke Arcane ordered him to check if he had captured a princess yet. Since he bared his fangs against his own leader, he would not leave alive. One speed burst caught Berg completely off guard. Hours earlier, he had explained to everyone that the absolute key to defeating the Beast King lay solely in reaction speed. Knowing from experience that Draxen has godlike reflexes, despite his massive size, They had to slow him down to strike his weak spot, even though Cargill was not sure he could keep up with the pace. Even with his special lightning speed technique, Berg assured him it was fine, as he would give them the perfect signal. In the present, Draxen keeps attacking with desperate fury. Right then, Berg had to pull back, seeing one of his wings damaged, quickly pulling out Armani's mysterious orb, which his enemy found hilarious, mocking the idea that such a toy would ever work against a demon king. Berg smiled, explaining the item lets a subordinate track their master down, to which the beast spat that it did not matter since. The way, let us watch how he hopes to survive without any allies, and if he fails to report within a month, he will lose his power. Hearing this, Verg simply walks away, saying he already caught one that fits his taste. Suddenly, Cargill appeared out of nowhere between them with a splitting headache, begging Berg to never make him use that bizarre orb again. Let us watch how this crazy guy Berg actually recruits a legendary hero as his subordinate. Berg tells him they are incredibly useful and he should try it, though obviously advice is completely useless since he is not making it out of here alive. Cargill strikes with his full lightning power, but Draxen blocks it, mocking Berg for being pathetic enough to blindly trust such utter garbage. Multiple magic circles are already hovering right above his head, in danger through pure instinct. Hours earlier, Berg told Russell that Cargill would create a perfect opening for them to make their move. When that exact moment came, she would have to unleash her entire magical power. Now pay attention, because she channels all her deep hatred for her lost eye into this spell, unleashing her fury on Draxen for tearing it away, to erase him from existence with a single mana-charged blow, activating her long-range ultimate fire spell, the satellite cannon. Draxen cannot help but scream in absolute agonizing pain. Later on, back at Verg's tower, meanwhile, the heroes shield themselves from the devastating shockwave, watching the massive explosion consume everything. In the end, Draxen is completely charred but somehow still alive, spitting out his intense hatred for every single one of them. Even Berg admits his durability is pretty impressive. Knowing he won't go down easily, Draxen roars, asking if they even know who they are fighting against. Next, he suddenly unleashes an immense wave of blade-like demon energy, easily shattering Ralph's shield and snapping Russell's magic staff in half. Check this out. You and I can see the artist literally forgot she was missing an eye for a second. Naturally, Cargill also takes a brutal hit. Draxen demands to know who Berg thinks he is to ruin him like this, swearing they won't leave alive. Berg mocks him, laughing that his mighty form is gone, and he is just a rabid dog now, which only makes Draxen want to shut him up forever. Berg adds that he hasn't even shown him the Phoenix power yet. Gordon praises him for showing the true might of a demon king, though Berg shrugs it off and doubts they can pull off anything else. That very power he coveted and kept hidden words that only pushed Draxen into a blind rage. Berg uses this opening to land a direct hit, yet Draxen still screams that he won't die here. The hero Ralph joins the action to strike at Draxen's ultimate weakness, his tail. Russell drags herself forward with her absolute last bit of strength to cast high-rank binding magic. Draxen realizes he is in deep trouble just as Cargill preps his final strike, cursing Berg with everything he has. Next second, his head goes flying from Cargill's devastating blow as Berg bids him a final farewell, promising to use the Phoenix power well, and we both know he will. Draxen's lifeless head hits the dirt, leaving the heroes shocked by their victory as they praise Cargill for defeating the Demon King once again. Cargill is absolutely thrilled by the praise, wishing they would keep going so he can be remembered as the strongest hero in history. But the moment is cut short as the entire tower suddenly begins to collapse around them. They need to stay ready, so he orders Gordon to check on the princess right away, which he does immediately. So the heroes scramble to grab every bit of loot they can. Berg stares at Draxen's head, wondering if a guy like him deserved another chance. But he decides it is useless as he was just an arrogant fool who refused to yield his principles until the very end. Later on, Russell asks Cargill if he had planned all along to be the one delivering the final blow, to decapitate the Beast Demon King. He claims it was just luck, though she honestly does not care anymore. She suspected him from the very start, especially when he suddenly decided to join their battle, because everything pointed to him simply wanting to steal the Beast Demon King's power for himself. Still, She cannot complain too much since they risked their lives together, and she only survived because he saved her when she couldn't move. And so she makes it crystal clear that the Beast King's corpse belongs entirely to her, which Cargill has absolutely no issues with. Just then, the other heroes call out after finding something in the tower ruins. Princes and two princesses, and trust me, you and I are going to be speechless at who they are. Meanwhile, Verg realizes this is troublesome. You and I are starting with this purple-haired princess, Vinia, the third princess of Achan, and Rosal asked what on earth she was doing there, only for her to respond with one-word materials. Realized she was hunting chimera ingredients, immediately calling her a completely reckless and crazy woman. Vinia just muttered the word monsters, making it clear she was looking for raw beast flesh. The other heroes stood frozen, absolutely unable to comprehend how Rosal could translate her bizarre one-word replies. Meanwhile, Rosal worried if Draxen had hurt her. What do you guys make of this whole situation? Now pay close attention, because this shady trade of monster meat and cash is about to explain everything. Verge couldn't figure out where Draxen got his massive wealth, but it actually came directly from Princess Vinia, broke into the Demon King's tower alone to study chimeras. He knows she's totally insane. Meanwhile, because if this is how the other Demon Kings feel, things are going to get extremely annoying. Elders of the Hero Guild gathered to mourn losing the Tower of Beasts, a crucial hunting ground. They lost it completely, despite their best efforts to sabotage the expedition alongside their wealthy sponsors. The old woman points out that a mysterious figure, calling himself the Phoenix Master, led them to victory uninvited. In fact, no idea this hero even existed, and they're sure he doesn't belong to any known guild. Another member notes this is unprecedented, starting right when the Demon King of Urgest stepped into this world. So it's time to tighten their grip and control the heroes. But first, they must uncover the truth. They need to find the Phoenix Master. Nightfall, Ormus hosts a grand banquet where the king thanks the heroes for saving his son. Roselle dresses up in an incredibly elegant outfit for this massive occasion, finds the party incredibly gloomy, though at least the cocktails are delicious. The price of mocking the rules is worse than he thought. Even if he went back in time, he would make the same choice, preferring death over bowing to those trash heroes. Compliments her beautiful dress and mentions that Princess Vinia has already returned to the K Kingdom. I know what you are thinking, why put on an act? But Cargill says fooling her is impossible anyway. Roselle doesn't waste any time and immediately demands to know where Fail is. Nowhere to be seen, and she needs to ask him some serious questions, especially about that legendary phoenix sealed inside him. The other heroes also search for him, desperate to finally thank him properly. Even the stoic Ralph admits the Phoenix Master did a truly spectacular job, which shocks everyone in the room since nobody had ever heard Ralph speak a single word before. Cargill, looking nervous, delivers the bad news that Fail already left. Meanwhile, in Verge's tower, Gordon welcomes him back, praying he didn't kill Draxen. Verge confirms he wiped him out. Gordon panics, realizing this lunatic actually did it, leaving them to face the consequences. He would have assassinated the human king to plunge the realm into chaos. Verge disagrees, since that would trigger massive internal conflict. He is determined not to repeat his mistakes. Virgil snaps, ordering him to wipe that stupid look off his face. Instead, the other demon kings will call soon, and if Verge hides, he'll be their main suspect. This realization makes Gordon understand why he had to return so quickly. Verge reflects on the battle, feeling that he's still far too weak, since Draxen was already weakened by the heroes before releasing his final form. And so Verge's full power counterattack didn't unleash the massive destructive force he needed to obliterate him completely. He now realizes he must not only boost his own base strength, but also heavily upgrade the Phoenix's power. Suddenly, Jason initiates contact. Verge anticipated, proving that heading back early was the perfect move to dodge suspicion. Jason wants to call an emergency meeting at his tower, but ask yourself this: why rush it if the scheduled date is far off? And assumes Verge is totally out of the loop, so this time he will rebuild his base from scratch, since he captured the lowest ranking princess, and breaks the news that Draxen has been eliminated. Internally, Berg laughs because he did it, but outwardly, he acts completely shocked by this tragic news. Jason adds a highly crucial piece of information again. A brand new demon king has already descended directly into this dimension. This time, Verge is genuinely shocked. It was incredibly fast, taking barely half a day to send a replacement. Archduke Arcane clearly anticipated Draxon's death and planned ahead. And that's where we leave it, with the black box vanishing completely. There is zero proof of his guilt. Stick with me, because he enters this meeting totally confident he will never get caught. Once there, the new demon queen is thrilled to meet the famous Verge de them, introducing herself as Vivian Blant, leader of the Blood Moon clan. Verge immediately corrects her, clarifying that his proper name is Verge de them, but Vivian does not care, recalling that Arcane thought it was impossible for Draxon to fall so easily. Demon crossing the border seems highly suspicious to everyone. That is why she was sent to closely investigate Verge and keep him under strict surveillance. Will only gather a few hundred demon energy points, keeping the kingdom's anger to a minimum, and we all know what that means. If any demon king broke the rules, it was definitely Verge. Join me as we watch this, because that jerk had no issue insulting their rules publicly, making him the prime suspect in Draxon's death. Meanwhile, Vivian licked her lips, believing Verge has quite a wild side. Thinks he is just a rough, easily manipulated guy, so she decided it would be fun to tease him a bit. Jason was just about to start the meeting, but froze in utter confusion when he saw Vivian walking right on top of the table. He mentions that this Aryan dimension seems incredibly interesting to her, especially since they gather all the demon kings, just because one of them ended up dead. But what truly captures her attention is the famous Verge. It's right before him, showing off her charms, while he just stares in total confusion. Seems she is only curious to see what kind of demon could turn the entire underworld upside down. And Verge, completely lost, simply replies that he has absolutely no clue, which is slow but safe. Wait, look at this with me. To his absolute shock, he has over 13,000 energy points, not have that much. Vivian praises his looks and proposes a wild, passionate night together, but Verge slaps her hand away, warning her not to lay a finger on him, since he finds her incredibly annoying. His response makes Vivian shiver, because this reaction makes absolutely no sense to her. After all, she is the legendary succubus queen, meaning absolutely no man should be able to resist her deadly charm. Solon cuts in, telling Vivian to get back to her seat, reminding her that while she is welcome at this gathering, they are also here to address Draxon's sudden death, so she needs to act with some dignity. Jason is genuinely surprised to see Solon finally stepping up to bring order back to the room. Vivian just giggles mockingly, thinking the Ice Queen simply desires that passionate man. Solon feels deeply disappointed by her childish behavior. Yet this Vivian actually agrees to stop her games, allowing Jason to finally move on to the main topic, which is the dangerous expedition of the heroes who defeated King Draxon. With that settled, the meeting proceeded, and the Demon Kings shared all the critical intel they had gathered. Right then, a message arrives from Draxon. A key subject was the rise of a powerful new entity known as the Phoenix Master, which sparked highly divided opinions. Ultimately, the meeting wrapped up with a firm decision to investigate this master further while proceeding with absolute caution. Verge had been acting quite suspiciously during the entire hero expedition, preventing him from monitoring the other demons, meaning he must now be extremely careful not to expose his true identity. On top of that, he must worry about someone arriving on a secret mission from Archduke Arcane, who clearly sent them to spy. Interestingly, Vivian keeps her eyes locked onto him. Surprised by her intense gaze, he casually blows her a playful kiss, showing she has nothing to worry about. After all, she does not seem very bright. Down on the first floor of Verge's tower, Princess Keed is thrilled because security has loosened and no demons are around. Even the Knight Hernan is nowhere to be seen, making this their golden opportunity to escape, and all they need to do is slip through that door. And even though their meeting was rough, he wants to offer a gift as his senior. However, Hernan blocks her path to stop her, declaring that he will protect the peace of this tower. Besides, the outside world is so incredibly dangerous that she might lose her life if she leaves. Cade prepares to fight because staying any longer is too risky, and though he truly does not want to battle her, she leaves him with no other option. But Gordon steps in, saying she is free to leave if that is what she really wants. Whatever happens to her is not his problem, which is exactly why he hates showing kindness to humans. Eid finds his attitude completely ridiculous since they were dragged here against their will. He does not care right now because this is her only shot at escaping. If somehow manages to escape the tower, she can cross the Urgest Mountains and head directly to Otanar City to ask for help. The moment her hand strikes the massive gate, massive purple energy surges, and boom, an explosion sends him flying. You and I definitely need to see what comes next. What he accomplished is no small feat, assuming his defiance of the rules was just a clever cover. On this one, touching that door is a terrible idea. And Kay just learned that the hard way after getting blasted. Without the Demon King's direct permission, absolutely no one is making it out of this tower alive. Hernan, driven by pure curiosity, reaches his hand out anyway, while Gordon screams at him to stop before he gets fried. Now here is the crazy part. The massive door swings wide open, leaving Gordon absolutely speechless. Panicked Hernan admits he just had a weird feeling it would work, having absolutely no clue how he actually did it. The door slams shut the second Verg shows up, convinced they are finally trying to break out of his tower. Gordon immediately welcomes him, while Hernan struggles to explain the misunderstanding, and Verg questions why they are all gathered there. You can see on the upper floor Verg. Verg knew something was off, and just then Gordon rushes in to report a massive crisis on the 4th floor of the tower. Arriving at that floor, Verg is left completely speechless because the entire place is turning into a beautiful, lush green field. Princess, surrounded by spirits, greets him cheerfully among humans fighting over the throne, meaning their rage would never be aimed at the Demon King. But Verg is baffled that a whole ecosystem was created here, a feat only possible for a master of all 4 elements. He immediately grows suspicious of the 13th princess, recalling that only one person in the entire continent is capable of such magic. To be absolutely sure, she is truly the 13th princess, and she admits she figured they mistook her for her sister Elena. This fills Verg with dread because it means one thing, as she reveals her true name is Hernan Hildurin, the first crown princess. Meanwhile, in the Hildurin kingdom, the king explodes with rage because they dared to kidnap his beloved princess Hernan, ordering his strongest heroes and the entire royal army to mobilize immediately, demanding they bring her back at all costs. Back at the tower, Hernan proudly asks if he really thinks he can handle her. Berg admits he heard of a genius elemental mage who is absolutely overflowing with mana, making it impossible to miss her, and asks how she managed to trick him like this, stalling his power growth. Doing that completely violated the official rules. Hernan shows her mana hiding ring. Trust me, you and I cannot miss what happens next. Come along with me on this one, because Verg knows he cannot return that royal relic. If he does, he will lose his chance to harvest all that sweet demonic energy he desperately needs. After all, no kingdom ever respects a coward, so he has to suck it up. Suddenly, the system alerts him to a massive wave of anger directed his way, boosting his points to over 19,000. And so Verge stays totally calm, claiming nothing changes. Even if she is the 13th princess, she is still his precious captive from now on. Meanwhile, over in the kingdom of Hildurin, the king is absolutely furious and demands Princess Hernan be returned. One of his men warns that they still do not know which demon king is behind this, so they must wait for their scouts to gather more intel. The king does not care, he just wants her found. Though another vassal points out that something here does not add up. Turns out the demon king of lust recently kidnapped the prince of a neighboring nation. The hero also mentions that sending monsters to random villages only gave them the perfect chance to train and level up. The king drew too much hatred to himself and ended up getting wiped out super fast, and it is highly suspicious that another demon lord has now chosen to kidnap the first princess of this kingdom. Everyone starts connecting the dots, and the king himself figures out they are dealing with a brand new demon ruler. Now watch closely, because a soldier rushes in reporting they found teleportation traces leading directly to the Urgest Mountains, which is completely unexpected. Meanwhile, Gordon warns Verg that the Hildurin army is coming soon, asking if he thinks he might be in over his head. Full of confidence, Verg replies that it is fine, since the Hildurin kingdom can never reach this place so easily. In time, the kingdom scholars recall that the Urgest Mountains lie at the far north of the continent, while Hilderin is in the deep south. This makes marching an army impossible, as neighboring nations would never grant free passage. And Verge knew those kingdoms would block them, meaning they will have to turn to the Heroes Guild, and those legendary black flames he was so proud of did absolutely nothing to defeat the heroes. They could not be more grateful. Invading the tower was incredibly easy, because the first floor was always packed with weak monsters, perfect for boosting their skills, exactly what the king has just decided. Soon after, word of the kidnapped princess reaches the Heroes Guild. However, many lose interest upon learning they must travel to the dangerous Urgest Mountains, a monster-infested wasteland. For that very reason, most refuse to go, since they are not about to risk their lives just to play hero. Verge already predicted this. He knew those people only care about money and would never step foot in such a deadly place, which is the exact reason he built his tower here. Gordon is shocked to see everything was so carefully calculated, realizing his master does not play by the usual rules, though the weirdest part is that Verge seems to know too much about Aryan, as if he lived in this world before. Watch this closely. The king is furious because nobody in the guild wants the quest, unable to grasp how those pathetic lowlifes dare call themselves heroes. Then he remembers most heroes in Aryan are only in it for the cash, making them incredibly demanding. Verge anticipated this, knowing it will take them ages to assemble the right team and even longer to travel all this way. Berg thought he did that to keep them from dying early and to harvest more energy, just as the manual taught. Though to be honest, right now he does not have enough demonic energy to take on an entire army. Unfortunately, he knows that weakness all too well, so he tells Gordon to contact Draxon to sell off his demonic energy. Gordon panics upon hearing such absolute madness, since that energy is the vital resource used to break their species' limits and unlock the tower's hidden features, not to mention attracting beasts. Yet he still plans to trade it away for basic human money. Verge stands his ground, arguing that Draxon will pay a fortune, and that their current energy levels will not stop the heroes anyway. Nothing changes with human cash, because there is something highly useful he can buy with those coins. Later on, we see the massive fortress city bordering the Urgest Mountains, where a hooded figure tries to enter posing as a mercenary, which the guards doubt since nobody travels those lethal peaks alone. However, all suspicion vanishes once he shows them a shiny gold coin, and they let him pass right through without issue. Hero struck him again. In the end, the mysterious hooded man is revealed to be Verge, who realizes he cannot explore this massive city alone, so he searches for a local guide first. Inside the Scarlet Falcon mercenary headquarters, a recruit suggests they leave soon. His captain replies that business here is absolutely booming. Regular soldiers fight the beasts, while these guys simply collect the spoils of war, so they will never find a more profitable spot. But then, another member mentions rumors of a new Demon King raising his tower in Urgest, which the captain thinks is fake. What do you say? Let us jump right in, because Demon Kings always build their towers where heroes can easily reach them. His underling just reported that this Demon King captured the first princess of Hilderin herself, and is not buying it at all. He has never seen a Demon King cross the entire continent just to kidnap some princess. Another guy reveals that the Hero Guild flat out rejected the job once they learned the tower was in the deadly Urgest Mountains, and then mentions that this princess is an absolute beauty, saying that when a tower gets boring, they just kill the current king, so a new demon ruler and fortress will rise. So the guild is probably playing hard to get just to squeeze out way more money. End of the day, those guys are just greedy for gold. Suddenly, Burge pops up behind them to thank them for the info, but his sheer presence terrifies the captain so badly he hits the floor. Burge only cares that they know their stuff, making them the perfect guides, so he orders them to leave just one behind while the others get lost immediately. The mercenaries charge in with everything they have got against this annoying intruder. In a blink, Burge utterly humiliates them, showing off some monstrous speed. The biggest mercenary raises his mace to crush him, but Berg stops it with one hand, leaving him pale with pure terror. More guys with crossbows ambush him from the second floor. Bergie just tosses the big guy at them, making the captain realize he is dealing with a real monster. And he is absolutely right. Basically, they are just building the perfect training ground for the heroes. Watch closely here. The beatdowns sounded so loud outside that people on the street assumed those mercenaries were just having their usual chaotic brawl. Inside, everyone ended up face planting on the floor. Berg slaps the captain awake, demanding to know where the slave market is. Minutes later, the guy guides him straight to the merchandise, asking if anything catches his eye. Burge tosses a bag full of gold, demanding to see something much more exotic, since there are only humans here. Seeing that massive pile of cash makes the captain super helpful, leading him to the exact spot. Burge cannot believe the guy is acting like this after he thrashed his men, though it is already clear to him humans and demons are pretty much the same. One lives for money and the other for demonic energy. Later on, the captain guides him down into some dark underground tunnels when Burge remembers telling Gordon that he would buy a slave, specifically someone from another species captured by humans. His main target is an elf. I bet you did not see this coming. The others claimed Verg was more like a sponsor than an enemy and thanked him, since they are famous for their high integrity, making them ideal spies to cause chaos among the heroes. Meanwhile, the Hilderan Kingdom announces the arrival of the legendary hero, Kargillan, who agrees to rescue the princess. You and I know how this goes. He vows to bring back the Demon King's head in the name of justice. Meanwhile, Burge tells the merchant he will buy the elf, and that the captain next to him is paying for everything, leaving the poor guy totally frozen. Burge, radiating a terrifying aura, asks him if he has any objections, leaving the captain no choice but to cough up the gold coins. Deal done. Burge orders both of them to leave the room, though the merchant warns him that this elf could snap at any moment. Burge shrugs it off, saying the captain will cover the costs of any damage she might cause. Once alone, he notes how unusual it is for such a noble elf to be enslaved. After letting her speak, she senses his demonic energy and demands to know what he wants. Burge makes it very clear that he is offering her a chance to get revenge on the humans, tempting to the elf, but she refuses to trust a demon. Burge was absolutely furious to hear that his majestic fortress was viewed as a basic playground, viewing them as no different from humans. Burge tells her he is different, promising her complete freedom after 50 years of service. Besides, 50 years are nothing to an elf, and it is far better than enduring endless humiliation under human captivity like this. The elf snaps back, arguing that demons want to destroy the world tree they serve, and if that tree falls, it would completely obliterate the entire world supporting them. So she sees absolutely no reason to trust him. For starters, it is highly unusual to seek an elf's help, which is something Burge cannot deny. Bill swears under sacred laws to keep his promise, vowing never to touch a single leaf of the world tree. This deeply shocks the elf, since those laws are as sacred to a demon as the world tree is to her kind. Seems bizarre, but she formally introduces herself as Granada of the Maple Star tribe, stating she will only swear her oath when she meets the Demon King who sent him. Burge simply lets her know she is looking right at him. Hero praised him because many warriors died this time, though that only helps the survivors gain more fame. Granada totally speechless. And that is where we leave it today, with her laughing off the absolute absurdity of a demon king just wandering around. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where demons get incredibly weak the further they go from their tower. Bought an elf, promising 100 years of loyalty if it were true. When they reached the tower, he regretted it, though Burge firmly reminded him that the contract was already locked in for that whole time. Granada is absolutely convinced it is a total scam. Besides, nobody warned him that this tower would be empty, since the first 3 floors have absolutely nothing in them. 4th floor only has wild nature. Do not get what kind of abandoned tower this is, with no monsters. At this rate, it will not last even a year before heroes come and destroy it. He has no plans to work in a place like this, but with a cold and hostile tone, Burge reminds him they made a deal. Elf is terrified by the crushing pressure of his demonic energy, confirming he is indeed facing a real demon king. It is true the tower looks neglected, but not a single mountain monster dared to attack them on their way up. And with that, of course, it was time to say goodbye. Burge was consumed by absolute rage, hearing this guy look down on him, wondering what those stupid Demon King rules actually were, even though all of them are disaster level. Now pay attention, because absolutely nobody dares to cross this Demon King, proving his powers are truly on another level. With this, he can finally get his revenge, so he swears loyalty for 100 years by the Great World Tree. He must have a key role in his plans, since Burge personally went out of his way to recruit him for help. Burge only asks him to prepare a good meal. which completely disappoints the proud elf. Not at all what Granada had in mind. He thought he would be part of some grand world-level strategy, but now he turns out to be a simple cook, with Princess Ernan standing right next to him, who also started cooking, except she was doing it with pure joy. Later, in the dining room on the 5th floor, Granada asked if she was the first princess of Hilderan, which Burge calmly confirmed. Granada thought he was crazy for kidnapping the heir, especially since the tower has 0 defenses against invading heroes. The only thing he is absolutely sure of is that he cannot die like this. Burge replies that is exactly why he bought him, so he should just sit down and eat. To his surprise, the dish tastes amazing, and Princess Ernan confesses she helped make it, leaving Granada completely confused and utterly lost. Then they head down to the 4th floor, where Granada assumes Berg wants him to fight invading heroes. But Burge clarifies that if the heroes get this far, they are both dead. His real mission is to infiltrate the human world as a spy. What do you think? He must prove his skills first, attacking with all his power. Granada doubts he can beat a demon king in his own tower, but Burge promises to fight one-handed without any demonic power. If he succeeds, 100-year contract in half. Motivates Granada, who warns him to keep his word because he is going all out, and he immediately unleashes a storm of rapid attacks. Cannot comprehend how they pierced his heart with the sword of justice, when he was always so superior to them. He is a demon king, though that resolve did not stop the hero from slicing his head clean off. Earning praise from Burge because his movements are still excellent despite his long imprisonment. He absorbed the 4th floor's mana or honed his physical skills with high-tier elf style. Granada boasts that an average elf could never do this, warning him that he will regret choosing the wrong opponent. His foot with vines, the elf is already tasting victory and a shorter sentence. Burge admits he has proven to be quite strong, reminds him not to forget who he is up against, telling him not to worry, since he will carefully measure his massive physical strength to avoid accidentally killing him on the spot. That overwhelming aura leaves Granada speechless, and soon after, only his screams are heard from the beating. Sometime later, at the Scarlet Falcon Mercenary Guild, he happily welcomes Burge, knowing he has money to burn, getting even happier when he hires them for a full year. Men cannot believe he is sucking up to the guy who crushed them, but all shame vanishes once they get their share of the generous gold. Even so, he swore that everyone who looked down on him would pay a heavy price, making the guys change their minds instantly and start praising him, completely forgetting about the beating he gave them. This greedy attitude makes the captain think about recruiting a brand new squad. Burge firmly warns them that they must work with a new ally he brought, who will deliver all their orders from now on. The guys are not too happy about this, since they are always suspicious of strangers, but upon seeing Granada show up with a completely devastated face, they fell silent and cried after realizing his pain, welcoming him warmly. And that is where we leave this wild, crazy story. Let's jump into this wild ride, because our mercenaries in jest are just getting started. You won't find soldiers this experienced anywhere else. Besides, he knows the only hero who can answer the kingdom of Hilderan's call is Cargill, legendary warrior who defeated the demon king of lust himself. So he assigned them. Their first major mission as mercenaries investigate that mysterious hero, Cargill, who was just hired by the kingdom of Hilderan. The executioner told the others to leave the head alone so he could claim the horns, but suddenly saw the body moving. The moment arrives for Berg to unlock much greater power, revealing that demon energy can both upgrade the tower and boost the power of the demon king himself. But Berg sold all his points, leaving only one option left to grow stronger: the mystical spirit flower. Talking about a mana crystal that absorbs nature's energy, granting colossal power to anyone who consumes it. Sturgis Mountains are packed with mana storms and monsters, leaving the area completely untouched by humans. Because of this, the flowers have grown here for many years, absorbing pure mana and refining their energy to the limit. This place is basically a treasure trove of valuable flowers. They aren't as effective for demons as pure energy, way better than nothing, so he's going. Still, Gordon warns him that heading out unprepared is extremely risky. Plus, searching there is like finding a needle in a vast desert, not to mention those wild beasts will attack without hesitation the moment they spot him. Berg muttered that he did not mind sacrificing his remaining life force terrifying the hero who realized what he was planning. Berg is confident he can smash those monsters, but he admits that finding the actual flowers is going to be a huge pain. Now, pay attention here because everything changes if they can just find a powerful mana detector. How perfect. There's a knock at the door. Princess Hernan, bringing the ultimate solution. She herself is a living mana detector. Shortly after, Virgil takes her out of the tower, leaving Hernan absolutely thrilled after being bored for so long. He immediately reminds him of his big promise, letting her decorate the 4th floor however she wants. Virgil agrees, but first she has to guide him to the flowers. Seeing her face, he suspects she planned this all along and wonders what she's really up to. After all, the mere idea of remodeling a Demon King's tower is completely insane. Hernan is thrilled to finally explore the main hall, since that's exactly how she won this massive opportunity. Right before they leave, Virgil scoops her up in his arms and spreads his massive demon wings to take flight. Massive energy kept gathering inside of Virg's body. Hernan is completely stunned. On the night she was captured, it was too dark to see how vast the beautiful sky really is. I know what you're thinking. She's finally getting a taste of just how massive the outside world really is. Back at the palace, her routine was suffocating, just endless magic practice and political studies. A monotony she thought would last until the day she died. Virgil, she's the first person to fly over the Urgest Mountains, but he cuts her off to coldly remind her of her duty, so she gently asks him to use her first name, since they'll be spending time together and need to build some trust. Berg feels he's given her way too much freedom, so he reminds her of her place. Does she want to be locked up again? Hernan quickly apologizes for her boldness, and Virgil orders her to summon her spirits to locate that damn flower already. She obeys without hesitation, sending out her spirit scouts. While Virgil doubts they'll find it quickly, they're still 1,000 times faster than he and Gordon. Surprisingly, the spirits return instantly with the exact location. Flying over, they spot the gorgeous flower guarded by a horde of terrifying monsters, and the hero ordered everyone to flee. But it was too late as Virg's body detonated, burning to the bone. Virgil notices these monsters descend from those demons who betrayed and abandoned his kingdom. If they have any honor left, they should obey his command and run. The monsters just growl in a savage dialect, refusing to listen and threatening to rip him to shreds. It makes Virgil furious. Gordon was totally right. They're just stupid beasts, and trying to reason with them was a waste of time. So without hesitation, he decides to burn them to ash. The beast leader orders his crew to protect their loot, but Virgil blasts them with devastating purple flames, roasting most of them instantly. Remaining monsters try to ambush Hernan, but Virgil fires another lethal burst of flame to incinerate them midair. Wipes them out so easily it leaves the princess stunned. Deadly ogre hunters, but against Berg's overwhelming power, they are nothing but toys. He finally understands what it means to be a truly feared ruler. Seconds later, not a single orc is left standing. Hernan examines the gorgeous flower, a beautiful hyacinth species radiating powerful pure water and ice energy. Every single warrior who was standing in that room. Virgil warns her not to steal it, and she reluctantly agrees. Trust me, what a wild couple they are. You and I need to watch this because Virg promised she could keep another spiritual flower if she found one. Hernan is going to give it her all, while Virg just laughs, thinking humans are like rabbits chasing a carrot. Unfortunately, they could not find another flower, no matter how hard they searched. Then Hernan reached her absolute limit, walking away totally heartbroken that she could not get hers. Later, back at the tower, Virg remembers thinking that kidnapping Princess Hernan was a total mistake, but she actually turned out way more useful than he ever imagined. Gordo reports that he just heard from Granada, who says the hero Cargill left Hildren with 32 other heroes, all heading straight toward these mountains. This means they are following the classic hero route, teaming up and leveling up by completing side quests for local villagers, only going to make them stronger along the way, like the loyal servant he is. That exact moment, Virg realized the official rules were wrong, deeply regretted not seeing how the heroes exploited them, swearing he would have never followed them. Already made some plans for this hero quest and begs him to read them, but Virg just throws them in the trash immediately. This time they will not send monsters or block the heroes. since doing that would only help them train and get stronger. Instead, he orders Granada to join the mercenaries on this hero quest, helping them out just to win over their absolute trust. Gordo realizes his master is completely throwing out the traditional rulebook at this point. Now pay attention here, because defending the tower against these heroes will not be easy, but Verg plans to recruit a dwarf. Gordo cannot believe he wants to add a dwarf to his multi-species collection alongside a human and an elf, fearing everyone will laugh if they try to defend themselves with such a tiny creature. But Verg simply responds by showing him a fist surging with raw energy. He explains that he does not plan on defending against the heroes using only that dwarf, clarifying that they need magical weapons instead. Heroes are so used to typical Demon King rules that they will bust open doors expecting weak starter monsters. Imagine this: if by some miracle he got another shot, he would throw that garbage manual straight into the trash. He is curious to see what happens if they are greeted with dozens of high-tech cannons on the very first floor instead, something they will absolutely not be prepared to face. Even so, Gordo says that is going too far, but when he looks up, Verg is already gone, realizing his master has set off to kidnap someone else. Meanwhile, deep inside the underground dwarven city of Wulfner, a master blacksmith was busy forging weapons like usual, and his name is Roger Friedrich, famous for being the absolute best blacksmith in existence. At the same time, Verg walks through the city, thinking how he fought plenty of dwarves in his past life, but this was his first time actually visiting their home turf. Without a second thought, feel how smart this guy is, right? He casually drops gold coins in a tavern to locate the best blacksmith, winning over the bartender. Berg mentions he heard dwarves are just as greedy as heroes, a statement the tavern owner does not even try to deny. The gold accepted, he points him to a massive pit in the city center, telling him that taking the elevator there leads directly to his target, and with that he ended his own life in a massive explosion, though the machine will scan his identity for security to immediately flag any unwanted intruders. So Verg decides to skip the elevator entirely, sneaking down on his own to reach the very deepest level, which is exactly where he would find the town best blacksmith, the legendary Roger Friedrich. Verg instantly notices this guy possesses a forging style that makes mana dance. Realizing that kidnapping him quietly would solve so many of his future problems, but Roger suddenly blasts him with massive flames, completely surprising Verg that a mere dwarf could detect his hidden demon energy so easily. Roger swings his heavy hammer to strike, but Verg blocks it, causing a massive explosive clash. Verg asks the dwarf if he is actually a hero. Roger proudly confirms it, warning him that he will not survive after invading their underground home, only makes Verg laugh hysterically, mocking him for being far too weak to be a hero before revealing his true identity as the legendary Demon King, grabbing him by the throat. Hearing the commotion, other dwarves rush in to investigate, only to find the entire workshop completely empty. After all, he entered the Demon King Military Academy as the top student and graduated with highest honors. Unbelievably, he opened his eyes back in his academy days, with no idea how he was still alive. Immediately locked down the city exits because Roger was kidnapped. Must search everywhere, as the culprit has to be nearby. On a rooftop, Verg threatens to tear Roger into tiny pieces if he even dares to make a single sound. Roger assumes a Demon King must have come to rescue the princess, but Verg coldly tells him he does not care about her at all. Putting that aside, he knows dwarf blacksmiths always build secret escape tunnels, just in case of an emergency, so he orders him to lead the way down there right now. And that is where we leave poor Roger crying in terror after facing the Demon King. This dwarf has terrible luck, and trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see if Berg actually captures the princess or just lets her walk away. Still, he wonders what the other dwarfs will think when they find out who sold out the princess just to save his own skin. Terrified, Roger screamed that this was pure cruelty, since everyone knows he doesn't have an ounce of strength in him, and they'll all believe the rumors that he betrayed the princess, sentencing him to endless agonizing torture. The announcer urged him to quickly step up to the podium, while the academy director asked what was wrong. Berg forced him to choose, hand over the princess to save himself, or guide him through the secret tunnel. And though Roger thought about betraying her, he feared they'd torture him anyway. To convince him, Berg guaranteed his safety. Swearing a solemn oath under the banner of the Demon King himself instantly made Roger change his mind, since demons never break a sacred vow. Though faking a smile, he agreed to lead the way, though his disgusted face didn't fool Berg for a second. Meanwhile, soldiers flooded Roger's workshop as the princess arrived, demanding to know where he was, since he was supposed to be forging her weapon, revealing that her name is actually Lois BFT. Guard reported he'd been kidnapped, but she shut him down, screaming that Roger is a hero, so there's no way he'd get caught. Reminded her that at the end of the day, he's still just a simple blacksmith, someone without much physical power. Lois ordered them to find him immediately, warning that if they failed, she'd chop off all their heads. Pay close attention to this secret passage. Why he was acting up despite having such a brilliant mind. Berg was furious about having to stare at the dwarf's massive backside the entire way, simply asking how long this visual torture would actually last. Roger apologized, explaining the tunnel is just way too narrow. But the good news was they were almost out of there. Minutes later, they cleared the city, and Roger declared his job was done, telling Berg he'd have to fend for himself from now on. However, Berg just pretended not to understand his nonsense, so Roger reminded him of his oath, but Berg confessed he didn't give a damn about those rules. Poor dwarf couldn't grasp what kind of crazy demon this was, instantly regretted not selling out the princess, while Berg wondered how he could actually put this blacksmith to good use. To save his skin, Roger bragged that he was the greatest metalworker, capable of forging any weapon the Demon King could ever dream of holding, and Berg wanted to know if he was truly willing to serve a Demon King. Roger assured him absolutely nothing was stopping him, so Berg was free to use his services however he pleased, and promised info on the dwarf city. Such exaggerated loyalty made Berg feel kinda bad. While Roger was already praising him like a god, Berg completely ignored him, staring straight at the red graduation badge of the military academy. But watch closely. Roger thought the Demon King was naive to believe him so easily. His real plan was to spy and, at the first opportunity, send a hunting party to make Berg regret letting him go completely free without suspecting a thing. Unfortunately, his brilliant plan collapsed the second they dragged him up to the 4th floor of the Great Tower, where Gordon confronted Berg for bringing in a dwarf hero. Right then, Granada called in via video stream to deliver his report, but Berg put the call on hold. Then Princess Hernan approached Roger, asking if he was the hero who had come to rescue her. Completely shocked, Roger confronted Berg, but Berg clarified he only promised mercy, never freedom. Confessed. He originally planned to knock him out so he wouldn't do anything stupid on the way to the command tower. During this, Roger just started laughing like an absolute madman, unable to believe his awful luck. Berg was happy to see him so glad to be his underling, and Roger accepted his fate in tears, which meant the sacred emblem that officially granted him the status of a Demon King. Berg praised his incredibly cooperative attitude and handed him his very first mission: set up heavy artillery on the 1st floor to obliterate any heroes foolish enough to attack. Later on, at the departure station where the heroes head off toward Urgist, Granada infiltrated the place to report that, due to rumors of Berg's black flames, the heroes are now gearing up with fire-resistant equipment. On top of that, word on the street is the Demon King hasn't sent beasts because he's absolutely terrified of them. Berg noted they're still bloodthirsty, but guaranteed they won't get a single thing out of this journey: no glory in battle, and zero wealth, ultimately making them lose all interest, meaning these rookie heroes will never have the chance to grow strong. Though it's a race against the clock, everything is going smoothly, so he ordered Granada to watch them closely while he slowly weakens. Granada admitted he understands human psychology. Wondering if there had ever been a Demon King this insanely clever before means he regressed 15 years back to graduation day, and trust me, you and I know that this time he will make the absolute most of it. And trust me, you and I would hate to have a guy like that as an enemy, because Verg completely banned Roger from using mana stones, caring only about the 1st floor remodel under this one strict rule. Roger insists that a trap without mana stones is absolutely useless, especially against the heroes, but Verg made it clear that he has to solve that problem himself, since those heroes are blessed by the world and can sense energy incredibly well. If he used mana stones, they would detect them instantly. but Roger was still confident he could pull it off. Berger reminds him that he brought the best blacksmith, and if he messes up, he will burn him alive and find someone else. Completely terrified Roger, who immediately claimed there actually was a way to make it work. The dwarf admits he invented a magic tool to hide mana it takes 3 years to build, but he has one ready in his workshop. Berg ignites his flames, thinking it is just a pathetic excuse to escape. Get ready, because you and I are about to watch Vergoduado step up for his graduation oath. Roger had to swear he was telling the truth, finally getting Verg to trust him just a little. Bill forced a collar on him that can decapitate him with a simple hand gesture at any moment. Also handed him another magical item that prevents anyone from seeing his face. If he takes it off, Verg will assume he is fleeing and blow his head off, forcing Roger to promise to never remove it. With that, they traveled through multiple kingdoms, gathering supplies and rare materials loaded with mana. It took them nearly a month to collect everything, and Verg stored it all in his spatial pocket. Watch closely. They return to Wolfner next, a city where Princess Louise is furious with her soldiers because a month and a half passed and Roger is still missing. One of her men makes excuses, saying the blacksmiths dug too many tunnels that they must search, so he has probably escaped by now. That last part seems incredibly obvious to Louise. For him lie the eternal laws he must swear to follow. The main character remembers obeying them perfectly in his past life, since they would be idiots to stay, giving them 2 more weeks to find him, or she will crush them like bugs. Now she orders them to seal all the blacksmith tunnels. Left alone, Louise stares at what should have been her ultimate weapon. With all her heart, she hopes Roger is alive, since he cannot die before finishing the weapon she desires so much. Coincidentally, Roger just returned through his own tunnel, and they lock eyes despite him wearing the concealment mask. She points out that this is one of the secret tunnels only he knows about. Instantly exposes him. Nervous, he greets her politely, but she raises her fists, believing he ran away to avoid crafting her weapon. Roger explains that it is a big misunderstanding. Louise does not believe him and asks how he dares to insult a princess like that, declaring he is now her slave and will make her weapons forever, starting with a punishment for running, as poor Roger begs for mercy. Suddenly, a massive explosion forces Louise to jump back, never realizing those sacred rules were just a playground for heroes, ultimately leading him straight to his own destruction, demanding to see who did it. Berg completely ignores her and tells Roger to pack his gear, revealing he wears an identical mask. Louise is furious. "I know what you are thinking," and so is she. He demands to know why he helps the dwarf, but Verg replies he owns him now. Louise gets outraged, claiming that she is Roger's true owner, and as she unleashes a flurry of strikes, she screams at him for stealing her slave, only to take a direct kick to the head. He blocks the attack effortlessly and counters with a massive blow that sends him crashing straight into the wall. Almost instantly, Verg recovers and grabs her head, triggering a wild exchange of heavy blows between the two. Verg remembers she is the second princess of the Dwarf Kingdom, and though not an official hero, she possesses monstrous strength. For his regression, she was actually one of the strongest people, far stronger than she is now, so it is best to eliminate her before she grows. Problem is, he would have to unleash his full demon energy. Wearing loyalty to this garbage in his past life feels completely ridiculous now, and just thinking about it makes his blood boil with rage. Not as powerful as in his past life, and that effort would leave him too exhausted to escape the guards. While they fight intensely, Roger dismantles his tool as fast as possible, just as Verg crashes next to him, asking if everything is packed up, to which the dwarf replies that he is still taking it apart. The device is called the Mana Ghost, meant to mask energy traces. Verg demands he finish in 1 minute if he values his life. Roger says he works fast, and you and I will see if he survives. Buckle up, because we are diving right into Verg warning Roger that things are about to get ugly, forcing him to inject some nitro. Verg has no idea how much longer he can hold back, refusing to unleash his true strength and dark demonic energy, since that would expose him as the actual Demon King. Meanwhile, Lois snaps, swearing she will break Roger's leg so he can never escape and make sure neither of them walks out of here alive. Berg finds this hilarious because she is acting exactly like a real Demon King herself. The rules of the Demon King are a legacy from the first ruler who established the kingdom's entire foundation. Seeing his dark expression, the presenter gets extremely nervous. Shaking, He asks the young graduate to start reading the sacred rules, mockingly advising her to surrender since he is taking the dwarf and the device anyway. Suddenly, the device breaks free from the pipes, and Roger yells to Verg that he got it loose, absolutely infuriating Lois, who realizes Roger only came back for the gear. Seeing an opening, Verg delivers a brutal kick to her stomach, slamming her into the wall before tearing open his pocket dimension, shouting at Roger to move just as Lois starts climbing out of the rubble, screaming that those weak hits cannot hurt her. But to her shock, they are already gone. The guards finally rush in. Lois snaps at them for being slow and orders an immediate chase down the tunnel, only to find it completely collapsed from an explosion. Realizing Roger had no intention of making her weapon. But watch closely, this piqued her interest, and she will track him down herself, even if she must cross the entire continent to make him regret today, treating it as a personal vow. In absolute shock, Verg flatly refuses to take the oath before the crowd. Meanwhile, back at base, Roger is already on the first floor setting up his Mana Phantom device, leaving everyone staring in absolute disbelief. Verg explains that this key magic tool will stop the heroes. While Roger announces the setup is finally complete, everything ready, Verg demands he fire it up, hoping it was worth the insane effort of bringing him here. A terrified Roger promises not to let him down, and as it starts, massive magic floods out, letting the tower recognize the Phantom. Though syncing it up requires 10,000 full points. Verg had no clue the tower could even do that, but he pays up anyway, leaving him with just 1,182 points. Now the Mana Phantom officially recognizes him as master. The device's power source completely shifts from standard mana to raw energy. You and I can feel the tension a dark demonic force Roger never knew existed, calling it the discovery of the century, instantly plunging the entire hall into dead silence. Boldly declares he won't pledge loyalty to trash rules that make no sense. Verg walks over to the door, asking Hernan to try casting any random spell, so she begins firing magic everywhere, giving Gordon a heart attack since he just cleaned the place. Verg knows that casting magic so recklessly inside the tower should normally trigger external detection, and he can sense what is happening. Hernan cannot feel anything outside either. Utterly shocked by the true strength of a synced tower, out of pure curiosity, Verg controls the tower, making it vanish completely before bringing it back with a splash of demonic energy. Being able to hide the tower at will is incredibly overpowered, even though it burns over 1,000 demonic points, making it extremely useful for the long run. Inside, an incredibly hyped Roger begs to take the device apart to analyze its gears, claiming he has never witnessed anything this legendary in his entire life. The entire audience is left completely speechless by his declaration, even the Academy principal himself, desperate to inspect this historic breakthrough. Verg agrees, but only if his traps wipe out the heroes on the first floor, and Roger is completely fine with that, vowing to absolutely crush those intruders. Verg then suggests the princess handle any heroes reaching the fourth floor, leaving Hernan totally confused as a human princess. Verg knows she is actually a genius spiritualist who has zero desire to return to her royal palace. Pretends giving her this job is ridiculous since, after all, just an innocent royal clueless about the world, meaning she might not dare to betray her own kind this time. Hernan is already plotting exactly how to destroy that group of absolute clowns. Verg clarifies she just needs to throw the heroes off guard, acting as their enemy, promising to grant her any wish if she succeeds. Hearing this, Hernan will gladly wait for the perfect moment to execute the plan. On one condition, she wants to be known as the Demon King's subordinate, not a princess. Just like that, the star student graduating with top honors turns into the ultimate traitor in everyone's eyes. Verg easily agrees, making her ask if she should use her looks or fight. Trust me, you won't want to miss our next video. Stick with me, because today we are watching our Demon King, Burz, reclaim his throne to launch an absolutely brutal revenge plan. On the first floor, they will wipe out the heroes using mana cannons, while on the fourth, Princess Ernan will stand ready to challenge them. That is not enough. With their current strength, they would not even wipe out half of the invaders. The only option is to grow stronger using ice and water spirit hyacinths, These plants, corrupted with demonic energy, are incredibly destructive against any hero who dares to invade his tower. He needs to harvest a lot more of them. Without hesitation, he sets out with Princess Ernan to search for these spirit flowers. But after searching for a while, the princess loses hope. For some strange reason, they cannot find a single flower. Burs thinks their early success was just pure luck, though he also wonders if the local spirits are just completely useless. Right then, a monster with white braids appears from the snow. Burs is ready to burn him to ashes, totally sick of dealing with annoying orcs. Infuriates Grand Duke Arcane. Orc drops to his knees, introducing himself as Krutu, leader of the Blue Frost tribe, begging to be taken under the Demon King's command. The other ogres bow down in respect too. Pay close attention here, because Burzy needs to know what they are actually planning with this unexpected offer. He knows their ancestors once betrayed the demons. It is a sin they still carry, so he begs for the ultimate honor of serving him as their absolute ruler. Burs is not buying that talk. He knows Krutu just wants to get stronger by bonding with a demon, since demonic energy adapts better to their bodies than any spirit flower. Krutu did not expect him to read his mind so quickly, but since that makes things easier, he hands over a chest packed with spirit flowers. Now Burs finally understands why they could not find a single flower. He praises Krutu for being incredibly clever, so eloquently, and showing great negotiation skills. He confesses that, to survive in such a brutal, icy wasteland, who warns Verg he could be executed for insulting the Demon King laws, his tribe values wisdom far above raw strength, making Burs realize they want him for the power they lack. Demon King absolutely loves this mindset, so he decides to take them in, though for now, only Krutu will receive this massive honor, ordering him to travel the frozen wastes to expand the tribe in the Demon King's name, promising their bloodline will be eternal under his rule. Krutu thanks him for granting such immense power, swearing loyalty for the rest of their lives. Still done, Burs heads straight back to his tower. Now the outer tower is guarded by ogres. On the first floor, Logar set up 60 mana cannons, and on the fourth, Ernan and her ice spirits are ready for total chaos. With all the pieces set, we just have to wait. And you know what? Burs is dying to make those heroes pay for all the humiliation of his past life. Meanwhile, elsewhere, heroes finally arrive at the Urgist Mountains, ready to destroy the evil Demon King, holding the Princess of Hilderin captive. First, they will consider his flawless track record and unmatched talent to give him one final chance. He must immediately take back his words and apologize to the entire demon world. Let us look at last night in the heroes' camp, where the Keep Master celebrated alongside Cargill on the eve of this historic event, then suggested giving a speech to motivate the young warriors, asking everyone to look up at them with pride. Standing firm, solemnly declared that their long journey has reached its final stage. The Demon King is shaking in fear before the army of justice, which is why no monsters were sent to stop them. They must not drop their guard, since all preparations are finally complete, and tomorrow will be the grand day they destroy the Demon King for kidnapping Princess Ernan, proudly proclaiming that true justice will always triumph in this world. Meanwhile, Granada confirms that the hero count has not changed, exactly as Burs predicted. Popularity aside, Cargill's campaign has moved forward with absolute success, even securing financial backing from the highly influential Merchant Guild. Even managed to quiet the mercenaries who plan to desert. Otherwise, watch closely, because they'll exile him straight to Arryn. Remembered how empty the tower looked last time, and wondered if it would fall quickly, seriously considering stabbing the heroes in the back right now. She quickly snaps back to reality, realizing that if this invasion succeeds, she will finally be released from her forced contract with Burzay and gain her freedom. So she steps outside for a moment to catch some fresh air. From a balcony, Granada reports to Burzay that they crossed Alton and will climb the Urgist Mountains tomorrow. The Demon King orders her not to contact him again once they leave, warning her to be very careful of snow avalanches on the climb. He tells her to get away when the tower opens, leaving her confused. You and I are about to watch an epic clash unfold. Right then, Cargill arrives at the balcony. Get ready, because you and I are diving into a wild story. Granada tells him she was just getting some fresh air, while he offers her wine, hiding some very dark, suspicious intentions. He asks if they can truly defeat the Demon King, admitting that her nerves are absolutely eating her alive inside. Boldly confesses that he cannot guarantee their victory at all, stunning the crowd since that's a wasteland where demon kings drop like flies. It is essentially an instant death sentence. Conquering that tower is a complete nightmare filled with casualties. But Granada reminds him he already defeated the demon king of lust. He absorbed that power. So this new enemy should be easy. At least that is what she believes right now. Nobody knows how he pulled off that miracle, and she is absolutely dying to uncover the secret behind his triumph. But Cargill completely dodges the question, claiming it was only possible thanks to the bravery of his old comrades. He promises to clear the path, asking her to guard the rear. Together, he claims, their victory is fully guaranteed. She accepts right away. With the deal sealed, Cargill leads her back to the banquet with a fake, hypocritical smile. Once he is left alone, his face completely shifts. He knows exactly what fighting beside brave comrades actually means. Watch closely here, he plans to use her as a sacrifice, while kissing a mysterious ring on his hand. The next morning, they march out again, heading deep into a dangerous hidden pass of the frozen Urgest Mountains. Several soldiers admit they were terrified of crossing this territory, but things do not seem so bad after all. He followed those theories to the letter, building his fortress and capturing princesses exactly as the manual dictated. Still, some advisors urge against showing mercy to such a defiant rebel who trampled over their most sacred laws. It is barely snowing and the sky actually looks quite clear. At this rate, they will reach the tower without any trouble. It all seems too easy, which is highly suspicious, considering rumors claimed this place was crawling with terrifying disaster-level monsters. Though it looks like those beasts simply fled in pure terror at Cargill's presence. Suddenly, something strange drops onto a soldier's head. Looking up, they realize with horror that massive, abnormally large creatures are lurking right above them. Instantly, Cargill immediately orders them into battle formation, telling everyone to stay calm. Since the pass is narrow, knights must shield the mages at all costs. A knight screams that a towering ice giant has blocked their path, growing more colossal with every single step. Cargill orders everyone to fall back while he prepares to face the beast head-on. Leaping high into the air, he stares the massive colossus straight in the eyes. He is filled with absolute confidence. A mere ice giant could never match the King of Lust. Just as the beast strikes, Arcane expects him to back down. He moves at lightning speed to dodge, sending the giant's fist crashing straight into the cliffside. Seizing the moment, Cargill unleashes a devastating strike that shatters the colossus, screaming for the army to run. Soldiers run immediately, while the giant's massive corpse falls backward, completely blocking the path for the other beasts. Battle leaves everyone completely exhausted. They realize no sane human should ever set foot in this hellish, terrifying territory. I know what you are thinking, thank goodness Cargill was there, or this would have ended in total disaster. Rumors say he cleared their path by absorbing the immense power of the demon king of lust himself, meaning he is now ridiculously strong. There is nothing to fear if they trust in him. Granada agrees that with Cargill on their side, perhaps they can actually defeat the fearsome Berg. Only ogres on the cliffs blow a loud war horn, but Verg demands to be sent there anyway, declaring he'll prove the Demon King's rules are nothing but meaningless garbage. Cargill senses a dense, oppressive, demonic energy radiating from those fierce beasts, definitely direct servants of the Demon King. He mockingly welcomes them to the frozen mountains, but Cargill plans to wipe them out instantly, viewing them as easy prey. Renata desperately begs him to wait a second, because a strange sound echoes. Instantly remembers Berg warning her to watch the snow, finally realizing what he truly meant. When Berg roar that nobody gets out alive, triggering a massive avalanche that sends Granada into absolute panic. How on earth is someone supposed to watch out for a massive avalanche of snow? Convinced that Berg is a total lunatic, she desperately screams for everyone to run. From his throne, Berg watches everything with a cold smirk, welcoming them. This time he will completely wipe them out. He remembers warning Granada about 3 deadly dangers, and the first was the snow. which is now burying dozens alive. Cargill quickly orders them to set up camp right there. Realizing he is a hopeless cause, an outraged Arcane orders his immediate exile, stripping away all his noble high demon privileges. We must find the missing. Send me to see if they can survive this. You and I are about to watch this whole squad crumble. First, Verge warns Granada that the Night Guard is useless, and just hours later, Frost Giants attack, unleashing total panic. Glaringly obvious that the orcs are driving the monsters right toward them, leaving them with no choice but to brace for a brutal battle. Granada cursed Verge, calling him a total lunatic, while Verge just smirked maliciously. His plan is clear day avalanches and night monster raids, wearing them down until everyone hits their absolute limit. Days later, the group shrank from 511 to just 256 survivors who finally reached the peak. Unfortunately for Cargill, Demon King Tower was nowhere to be seen. It made him explode with rage, since he assumed towers are always visible to heroes, but now he sees nothing. This desperate situation made several of them start doubting, exactly what Verge was waiting for. No demon will accompany him. Cargill cannot believe his brave soldiers want to desert, but they make it clear this hero journey is a failure and their lives matter more. It infuriates him because he cannot stop them. After 6 days of pushing deep into the Urgest Mountains, they finally manage to find the tower, cursing the Demon King for hiding it right in the middle of a massive abyss. By this point, only 52 people remain. Visibly exhausted, they open the first floor doors, hoping to find weak monsters that will let them regain their strength. Right at that very second, Verge recalled his third warning to Granada: stay far away from the tower when the doors swing open. Watch closely because suddenly heavy cannon fire erupted, making everyone pale. The attack wiped out almost the entire squad, leaving only one survivor out of 52, which actually shocked Verge quite a bit, since not even that devastating blow took Cargill down. The hero has no idea what is wrong with this Demon King, since none of this is normal, though he is glad Granada is still conscious. Now he demands to head straight to the next floor, baffling Granada because now only the two of them are left to face the danger. Furthermore, he's banned from returning until he completely conquers and occupies the entire territory. Cargill reminds her that he is the hero who killed the Demon King of Lust and absorbed all his power, so a rookie Demon King is no match for him. Besides, a skilled elf is more than enough support, successfully convincing Granada to press on with the journey. To their surprise, the second floor was completely deserted, and they found the exact same empty scene on the third floor. This infuriated Cargill, since the place should be crawling with monsters, though he does not rule out a sudden ambush at any moment. However, Granada grew deeply worried, seeing the second and third floors completely empty. Princess Hernan was waiting on the fourth floor. Arriving there, Cargill was left speechless at the sight of a lush forest. I know what you are thinking. This makes him doubt they are even in the tower. But suddenly Hernan herself appears, warning them that this is their limit, formally introducing herself as one of the 4 heavenly kings, protecting the Demon King himself. She is a dark spiritualist and plans to confront them on this mysterious floor. Flying out, Verg realizes this outcome was inevitable. Hilariously, they sent him to reign the territory of the very heroes who killed him. But that grand introduction disappointed Granada, looking like a ridiculous act by some cheap circus clown. And to make matters worse in this mess, Cargill realized she is Princess Hernan and demanded to know why she is dressed like that, to which she replied she is no princess, insisting on her villainous identity, unleashed an immense power of darkness that only cleared Cargill doubts, recognizing that high-tier spiritual magic that only Princess Hernan is capable of mastering. Besides, using it would be impossible if she were under mind control. Suddenly, he began connecting every strange event that occurred over the last few days leading up to this place. And the icing on the cake is bumping into a delusional princess, something he finds completely impossible to comprehend or accept. The moment he exploded with rage because the princess is attacking the very hero who came to rescue her, leaving him no choice but to destroy everything. Immediately, Verge appeared right behind him to mockingly ask if he would really be able to pull that off, sending a devastating explosive blast at point-blank range, extremely pleased to finally see his face filled with absolute despair. Actually, before his regression, he chose Ryan himself. His foolish younger self believed that only the strongest. Cargill cannot believe this Demon King is cheap enough to ambush him without hesitation. Realizing he needs to unleash way more power right now, fortunately Granada is standing just a few meters away. Moving swiftly, he lunges toward her to demand they join forces, leaving her completely stunned. Unfortunately, she immediately feels every bit of vital energy being violently drained right out of her body. Argyle cruelly reminds her that there never would have been any trouble as long as she stayed loyal by his side. The exact moment Verge recognized the artifact he was using, a forbidden relic called the Elf Devourer, capable of draining her life. And trust me, what happens next will leave you chilled. Stick with me, because things are about to get ugly. By using the artifact, the elf dies, telling Granada it is for the greater good, leaving him completely on his own. He called him a dirty traitor, but Verg proudly admitted just how much he loves being a despicable guy. Knowing he will grow weak without the ring, he dares him to try and take it, bragging that even the Demon King of Lust failed to steal it. In a blink, his entire hand went flying along with that highly coveted ring. The world on the hardest difficulty level. The attack was so fast he only noticed when his wound started spraying blood, screaming that it was impossible because he felt zero presence. Gordon calls that incredibly rude for a mere human, and facing this overwhelming pressure, Cargill immediately backs away to create some distance. That is when he realized he is just a high-ranking demon who relies on an artifact, growing furious at being humiliated by such utter trash. Berg claps a hand on his shoulder, coldly reminding him that he is not going anywhere. Cargill knew he had to dodge, but by now it was impossible. He wondered who this new Demon King could possibly be. While Verg warned him that a legendary beating was heading his way, he unleashed a strike so brutal it cleared the entire tower. Watch closely, because this is insane. Shortly after, Verg is surprised by the incredible resilience shown by Cargill, since he is still breathing even after taking that massive point-blank hit. He ordered his men to bind Cargill for prison and lock up the other knocked-out humans lying outside the entrance too. But that arrogance proved fatal, because the heroes had been shamelessly exploiting the Demon King's rules. Meanwhile, Granada was right on the verge of death, so Verg stepped up to reward his massive efforts, restoring Granada's vitality within minutes, leaving the warrior terrified to find himself 100% cured. Verg also handed a spirit flower to Princess Hernan as a reward, making Granada realize he used one of those priceless treasures to save him. Verg did not forget about the dwarf Roger either, giving him full permission to dismantle the tower, which thrilled him since researching weird relics is his ultimate reward. With that done, Verg ordered them to repair and guard their assigned floors, making a triumphant return to his throne. Granada was amazed to see him completely unharmed after such a fierce battle, just as you would expect from a demon king. Though Princess Hernan did notice that Verg was secretly exhausted, and it was true, since Verg collapsed the very second he stepped into his private room, knowing a demon king must never show weakness. But after fighting Cargill, he finally understands the power of the 10 stars. Those guys are the 10 strongest heroes in the land, and had fun playing around with the heroes who came to rescue the girls. I know what you're thinking, but this time, he refuses to lose. Crashing into the northern Urgist Mountains, he vows to exploit the hero's rules instead. Even though Cargill is one of the weakest, his raw strength is still absolutely monstrous. Honestly, he has barely used any demon energy points to boost his strength in this lifetime. I know what you are thinking. Not. Well, he traded them for human currency, knowing he could never beat Cargill in a fair fight. His master plan was what truly drained him, completely rattling his opponent and forcing him straight into a state of panic. Because of that, the heavy pressure clouded the hero's vision, leaving a massive, wide-open gap immediately used to strike him with everything he had. For now, he secured a solo victory he never could have achieved in his past life. And now he knows for a fact that he can change destiny. With the power to alter the future, his revenge is no longer a dream. He wants to make every single hero suffer, and he will enjoy watching them fall. Meanwhile, over at the Tower of Bars, Demon King Draxen flew into a rage upon learning Cargill was still in Urgist, even after leaking that Verg's specialty is fire. He called them a pack of useless fools. 2 hours earlier, Minion explained that, according to Hero Barton's report, there was no tower at the peak, so they called off the mission and abandoned Cargill. Draxen was completely stunned, since Verg is an absolute lunatic who completely ignored the sacred laws set by the very first Demon Kings. On the other hand, Hero Barton declared that this new Demon King is unlike any enemy they have ever faced before, which sparked massive interest from the press, since a situation like this had never happened before. Everyone wanted to know if this meant the entire expedition had turned into an absolute failure, reminding him that a massive fortune from the kingdom was spent to fund this journey, so the backers are demanding someone take responsibility for the disaster. Hero Barton clarified that they have not failed yet, and hope remains because Cargill's group will not give up. They keep searching for the tower. They only need a little bit more time. Word of this brand new ruler spread fast, completely infuriating the king of Hilderin. A demon named Gordon gets dressed up, since their academy specializes in training elite servants for demon kings. Since Cargill ran his mouth just to make a fool of himself, trust me, things are about to get wild. Stick with me, he is going to execute the hero unless they bring Princess Hernan. Meanwhile, in dwarf territory, a soldier brings the news to Princess Louise, who sends him away to eat because she only cares about finding Roger. In the end, the story got completely distorted and heavily exaggerated, rumors spreading that Cargill died fighting the new Demon King, plunging the entire world into a deep and absolute sorrow. Thanks to this, Berg's demonic power spiked massively, and soon after, Barton headed straight to the Hero Guild's headquarters. Once there, several members questioned whether he was actually telling the absolute truth, which he replied yes, swearing on his very name that it was the absolute truth. Thus, the High Command understood the gravity of the situation, but they had to be cautious since they still do not know the new Demon King's identity. The number of the 10 stars does not fall easily, so they will wait 10 more days, and if there is no news by then, on top of that, every hero on the continent will launch a massive attack to eliminate the new Demon King, gathering an army of 4,728 heroes. Meanwhile, deep in the dungeons of the Tower of Verg, Cargill was locked away, whom the king praised for his incredible healing speed, since he was already awake, despite taking such devastating damage. He knows all too well he is only alive because of his powerful desire for something demanded. He stop beating around the bush and get straight to the point. This pleased Verg, who, seeing him ready to talk, immediately offered him to become his loyal vassal. Here's where it gets tense. Cargill looked at him weird, thinking he had heard wrong. Berg confesses he knows the hero's journey cost an absolute fortune in food, lodging, and various other supplies for hundreds of people in total. Normally, merchant guilds and nobles cover these expenses, because if they defeat the Demon King, the heroes' lives completely change. If they fail, they end up drowning in debt, which is the massive risk of accepting such colossal sponsorships. Laws dictate the number one servant must serve the number one Demon King, uniting the finest graduates of both schools. And this time, that entire massive debt falls on one single person, Cargill, the leader of the hero party. In his mind, Cargill realizes how real this is. Even if he escapes, he'll be branded a failure, living in hiding forever. Even so, he still asked how he knew all this. That moment, Granada reveals himself as the source, unleashing Cargill's pure rage at such an ultimate betrayal. But Granada fires back, calling him shameless for complaining after he almost got him killed. Besides, he was always on the Demon King's side. Berg adds the real reason for his failure is unprecedented. You and I both know he broke the mold. There has never been a Demon King like him. But even so, the heroes will adapt and find a way to conquer all of his towers. However, he doubts they can do it with someone sabotaging the strongest human secrets, and with a wide grin, he pulls out Armani's orb. Cargill has absolutely no idea what that is. The runner-up graduate praises Gordon for securing the coveted top spot, so Berg explains it is a magic tool to monitor subordinates, which implants directly into the brain the moment it enters the body. Instantly know of any hostility, allowing him to explode his head with one simple, easy gesture. And if the orb does not adapt, it will reject and destroy him instantly. After all, there are plenty of heroes to replace him. Cargill tries to resist, saying a high-ranking hero is completely immune to mind control, so the orb will just fade upon entering his body. However, Granada reveals that a high-ranking hero can voluntarily disable their own mental defenses, so Verg tells him to get ready, while Cargill curses Granada, calling him a shameless, traitorous elf. Desperate, warns Verg he is only wasting a valuable magic item, because he will never submit to a Demon King, being ignored entirely, forcing him to swallow the orb. Granada wonders if Cargill would rather die than give in, but Verg tells him not to worry, since a greedy human who treats allies like trash for money enabling him to serve the legendary demon King Verg, while the third-place graduate sighs in regret over missing out. Will never sacrifice himself. And he is absolutely right, as Cargill ends up completely submitting to him. Later on, Gordo mentions that it does not matter if Cargill is now their vassal, since his actions will be heavily restricted by that massive 100,000 gold coin debt. They currently have 2,000 gold, equal to a small country's yearly budget, so he wants to know how they plan to get more. Berg is confident that a certain message is about to arrive, and trust me, he is talking about the annual Demon King Assembly. Let's see if he decides to attend. Get ready, because today you and I are watching our clever main character pivot his plan. Remembering those old demon kings must swim in endless gold. Completely freaked out Gordon. He figured his boss wanted to sell his demon energy points again. Well, at least that would have been his old reaction. But after facing those heroes head on, he finally gets it. If they had stuck to the old Demon King rules, Gordon acts humble, claiming all demon kings are destined to be great leaders. He never would have stopped them, so he has no choice but to trust him, revealing that the invitation arrived at the exact same time as the towers. Because of that, Verg ordered him to move out immediately, since they cannot waste any time if they want to scam those veteran demon kings. And that brings us to the Tower of Lies. On floor 13 is the royal chamber, where several of these powerful sovereigns are already gathered. Berg walks right in, apologizing for his lateness, and proudly introduces himself as the Demon King of Flames. Draxen immediately loses his temper, while Soldane, the Winter Demon Queen, looks surprised to finally see the rookie everyone keeps talking about. Belbeck, the King of Indestructibility, spits out an insult, calling him arrogant for completely ignoring traditional rules. And finally, there is Jason, the Demon King of Lies, who gives Verg a surprisingly warm welcome. The main character bluntly asks if they are not ashamed to call themselves Demon Kings while forming alliances. Of course, he is totally baiting them. Belbeck stands up furious at this rookie daring to meddle without knowing the true rules of Aryan. Down, he knows none of them can compare to Verg. Now pay attention here, that exact provocation was precisely what Verg wanted. He knows exactly what they think of him. Belbeck thinks Verg is suicidal, so he is ready to grant his wish. But Verg declares himself the only true elite in the room and dares him to try. Jason claps loudly to get everyone's attention, reminding them that this meeting is actually for cooperation, so they should not waste valuable time. Berg is impressed to see him instantly erase the bloodlust of two demon kings. Definitely was not normal magic. Is it his unique skill, or the power of this tower? If it is the latter, it would look a lot like the mana phantom Roger created. But he won't jump to conclusions without proof. Once they sit down, Jason opens the floor for everyone to speak freely. But Verg quickly realizes this meeting is nothing special, meaning that nobody wants to speak up Draxen. After all, Verg carries the rare demonic dragon lineage, a once-in-a-millennium prodigy destined to carve his name into history. Takes the lead by asking Verg where the hero Cargill is. This makes our main character stop and think before replying. Meanwhile, the other king's attendants corner Gordon, trying to find out if the hero Cargill was actually taken out. Gordon tells them he is not sure, since the guy never even set foot in the tower and is probably still lost in the icy Urgest Mountains. One attendant snaps at him to stop talking nonsense, arguing that the hero surely must have spotted the tower from afar. I know what you are thinking. Are the rumors about his king true? Well, Gordon tells them their situation is totally different. Internally, Gordon remembers Verg warning him about this hours ago, realizing he has to play dumb and act like he knows absolutely nothing. Basically, they want to use him as a spy, so keeping this secret is a huge deal for him. Even though he silently admits Verg was right, he tells the attendants his master is just an arrogant brat who never listens to anyone, who starts chaos the second he is left unsupervised. Honestly, venting like this makes him feel incredibly satisfied. Doing that to a demon king, the anger and sorrow of others are the ultimate feast. Graduating alongside him is a massive blessing, since together they can easily conquer any dimension they set their sights on. Others relate completely, and even start complaining about how weird all demon kings actually are. Turns out they are all exhausted from cleaning up the messes their bosses make, which gives Gordon some massive emotional relief. Meanwhile, back in the meeting room, Belbeck finds this whole conversation ridiculous. Berg claims he built his tower on the mountain peak just so the hero could easily find it, then reminds them he is free to build wherever he wants. Jason gets that heroes are still lurking in his territory, still left it undefended just to attend this meeting, knowing from the academy what a brutal end awaits anyone who loses their tower. Berg tells him not to worry since it is already safe. Well, safe in his own way, though internally he thinks this damn king of lies is really getting on his nerves. But Draxon warns our main character that Archduke Arcian will never tolerate such massive disrespect. Berg does not care at all what that senile old man thinks and tells them to just get on with the meeting. This means his loyal servant will also enter the halls of eternal glory, a thought that fills him with immense pride. He knows they cannot verify his story. And trust me, having them suspicious is 1,000 times better than them finding out the actual truth. Get ready, because today you and I are finding out who came here chasing those 100,000 gold coins. The meeting went on like usual. Meanwhile, Vergardo watched in silence, realizing that even among demon kings there is a clear hierarchy. The King of Lies sits right near the top. He decided to keep listening closely to find out which of these demon kings were actually running low on demonic energy points. Suddenly, and without any explanation, Solon locked her eyes right on him, leaving him completely confused. In 2 minutes, Berg stepped out onto the balcony to ask Soldine what was going on, and she replied that it was no secret. Simply wanted to talk to him the very moment she first heard those rumors going around. To be honest, she actually shared many of his ideas. This surprised Verg, since he did not remember this queen thinking this way in his past life. Sold clarified she does not hate traditional rules, lives by them, but believes demon kings must be more flexible, especially here in Arien. Right then, Verg drops the bombshell that their sacred laws are utter trash, leaving the entire arena completely stunned. Meet him, since talking to him is way more productive than reasoning with other sages. Verg then decided to ask for her honest opinion. Look closely at this scene with me, because she admitted that he looks way better in person. An unexpected compliment Verg actually appreciated. Soldine handed him a personal transmitter to call her for advice, promising to cooperate as long as he does not insult the rules in her presence. After all, he has finally found someone interesting to talk to, so she hopes he does not get wiped out too soon. Berg knows a few things about the Demon King of Lies, and Soldi admits she cannot read that guy at all. She can at least promise he is way better than those fools, Draxon and Belbeck. With that, she left the balcony. Berg knows he cannot fully trust her yet, but he feels like he just gained a major unexpected advantage. Back at the Ergust Mountains on the first floor of Verg's tower, Ernan went to offer Roger some freshly baked cookies, especially Gordon, who was supposed to serve him and now finds himself exiled to this deadly dimension without any explanation, wondering how she even baked them inside the tower. Ernan revealed Verg bought her all the ingredients, so she made them with help from her elemental spirits. No idea being a genius spiritualist came with such delicious perks. Still, he kept eating them, knowing deep down she is a princess who has never cooked, so he would have praised them regardless of taste. But the actual flavor completely shocked him. Incredible, they make his mana vibrate. He has never tasted anything like this in his entire life, honestly believing that this is exactly what stepping into heaven must feel like. I know what you are thinking, and yes, these cookies are absolutely insane. Ernan asks for his opinion, and he is just begging to know what she made. Ernan reveals she mixed spiritual flowers into the dough, glad he liked them, though she expected nothing less from her very own special recipe. Roger is completely shocked to find out she just casually gave him something so incredibly valuable, finally understanding why his mana is literally overflowing right now. Erna says it is just a gift to make sure they get along in the future. Berg is shocked to see him since he assumed he would be totally alone, but secretly appreciates having a companion. They will be seeing each other for a long time, but Roger still cannot believe she would give away something so incredibly precious. Ernan asks if Granada will like them too, and Roger is absolutely certain she will love them. Now, wearing a huge smile, she asks if he thinks they will also please the Demon King himself. Meanwhile, Verg met up with Jason once the other Demon Kings left, and Jason offered him some tea to have a deeper chat, especially since he knows Verg needs to secure human money. Instantly triggers Verg's hostility. He demands to know what that means, wondering how this leaked. Jason warns him that playing dumb is totally useless, since Draxon already knows. Not wanting to waste time on mind games, he immediately shows him the money to seal the deal. Verg asks him what his plan is, and Jason replies that he just wants to be on his side so they can get along. Verg finally hands over the 100,000 gold coins to Cargill. They just have to make absolutely sure that nobody can trace the true origin of these funds. Still, a panicked Gordon demands to know why he did something so crazy, especially since Jason can easily track money. Verg could end up as his puppet if they manage to monitor his every move. He has no idea what that guy is plotting, so he must be extremely careful. He tells Cargill that all the surviving soldiers have been turned into Black Knights and Dark Mages. The one standing right in the center is named Aman, a member of the Golden Moon Merchant Group, who can use these men to manage the funds, ensuring they follow every order without hesitation. And that is where you and I leave it, watching these guys feel utterly humiliated as the Demon King's subordinates, praying Cargill saves them. Alright, you and I are about to dive into this drama where Cargill claims they didn't fail since they can still pay. This way, he can quickly return to his hero missions, so working together as partners actually sounds like a good plan. Virgil gets furious at his arrogance and instantly activates the painful neural orb implanted right inside his brain. As he writhes in agony, Virgil coldly reminds him they are not partners, he is just a master commanding his slave. He fears they'll both end up dead in this wasteland, just because of a reckless insult to the rules. Cargill claims he didn't know they liked these games, but Virgil makes it clear that loyalty isn't expected, ordering everyone to pack up and start marching back to Alton immediately. Princess Ernan approaches Cargill to hand over a secret letter for her sister Elena, who he immediately recognizes as the 13th princess, so it is totally possible. Still, he wants to know why she joined the Demon King, especially since her actions dragged him onto this side too. Ernan apologizes for having no plans to return home anytime soon, trusting that a hero will understand royal secrets and their complex situation. Cargill has heard whispers of the Hilderan family's dark history, and though he doesn't fully get it, he accepts the mysterious letter anyway. Later on, Gordon curiously asks if that hero, will he really obey? Now pay attention here, because Virgil reveals Cargill isn't just a greedy guy chasing cash despite how he acts. She saw right through Cargill. He lacks that common human obsession with chasing nothing but wealth. Then again, he is no noble hero either. Berg tells him to chill out before he pulls his hair out, but Gordon screams that isn't the point right now. So the guy is likely chasing fame and popularity rather than actual noble honor. Behaves aggressively just to stand out, meaning that controlling him with the brain orb makes him the perfect spy for their plans. Gordon has to admit that Virgil truly understands human nature. Virgil adds that a so-called hero turned Demon King puppet is destined to tear humanity apart from the inside, a truly genius scheme. And that gets Gordon incredibly excited. Later, Ernan drops by with handmade cookies for the Demon King himself. Virgil is shocked that she freely wanders in and out of his room, threatening to lock her in the dungeons if they taste bad. Ernan, completely unfazed, suggests they chat first. Virgil scoffs that human treats are usually garbage, but to his absolute shock, the cookie tastes unbelievably delicious. Ernan is thrilled. You saw how happy she got, right? But Virgil literally crushes his own throne just to stay composed, muttering that it is merely passable for human food. Berg remembers Gordon always being this uptight, though he did carry himself with a bit more confidence in his past life. This actually surprises Ernan, seeing him successfully resist the powerful flavor. He asks if she added spirit flowers, which she happily confirms, fully knowing he would notice the secret ingredient immediately. He assumes she wants something in return for her sweet gift, and she admits it with a massive, mischievous grin. The hero's party safely descends Mount Urgis thanks to Krutu, and once they reach Alton, they teleport straight back to Hilderan. Granada, meanwhile, is busy enforcing brutal military discipline at the Crimson Falcon mercenary headquarters, since they all ran away during the first avalanche. leaving their captain completely behind. A captain begs for mercy. Mid-tier mercenaries stood zero chance of surviving on a mountain where even legendary heroes failed miserably. They had no choice if they wanted to live, but Granada prepares to strike again, refusing to accept that excuse. Suddenly, a mysterious woman walks in looking for Granada. He actually kept his cool back then, even after finding out Verg had deliberately chosen to face Rain, saying they finally meet and introducing herself as Keed, a hero who couldn't join Cargill's original party due to some setbacks. Traveled all this way to catch up, asking to officially join the hero's epic expedition despite being late. His men quickly mention that she bought them rounds of drinks while he was gone. That confession only makes Granada want to beat them to a pulp right then and there. So he calmly thanks Cade for treating his men, but unfortunately the expedition is already over, and Cargill's party has already left Alton behind. Cade asks him to share details about their failed journey, and a nervous Granada agrees to tell her, revealing only what he is allowed to. Later, Cade is shocked to learn the tower isn't even on the mountain peak, leaving her with no reason to stay. So she decides not to waste another second, leaving behind a massive reward for the valuable time they spent with her that afternoon. That is why he never killed them quickly, letting them grow stronger first, because a powerful hero tastes so much better. In this nightmare, his panic makes sense. Telling him about regression would sound crazy, but trust me, you and I are about to see that the real show is just getting started. As she leaves, the old captain calls her a naive rookie who doesn't understand this brutal world. Let's see if anyone betrays her. What do you think will happen next? Trust me, you are going to love this, because Granada warned him he would lose his hand over those coins. Outside, armed men crept up behind Cade. Granada noticed they were being tailed and wondered what to do in the dark alley. These armored soldiers cornered the princess, declaring it was time to return because her wealthy fiancé was waiting for her. But Cade flatly refused because she wants to live as a true hero. Granada followed them since they moved silently, and he was completely shocked to discover that Cady was actually a royal princess, and it turns out she wears a mask to hide her true royal identity. Wanted to ignore them, letting the kingdom solve its own issues. Suddenly felt a cold blade on his neck as a knight demanded to know why he was eavesdropping. Plus, he directly accused him of wielding suspicious magic. Granada panicked because if they unmasked him, they would realize he was actually a loyal servant to the terrifying Demon King. Come along with me, because right now he has to fulfill his duty, following rule number 1 of the standards. The knight grew even more hostile, assuming he was a rival kingdom spy, and fully intended to end his life right there. Mention here, Guy's Granada was seriously regretting picking this exact spot to eavesdrop on their conversation. With no choice but to flee, the leading knight ordered his men to hunt him down, labeling him an assassin while guarding the princess. Granada was deeply worried since he was the only elf in Alton, and using his elven powers would instantly expose him. Yet he could not escape without using them. Jade also drew her sword, determined to act like a true hero, just as Granada faced a lethal strike and had to unleash his powers. But luckily, Berg materialized out of nowhere to incinerate the attacking knight, casually asking what Granada was doing in a place like this. I was just taking a walk. Berg brushed it off as a minor scratch that would easily heal with a bit of spit. Demon King must build a massive tower. The remaining knights vowed to protect the princess with their lives, convinced the Demon King had arrived to kidnap her, though Cade told them to stand down, viewing this as the absolute perfect opportunity to take down a legendary Demon King. Berg admitted he had no idea she was royalty, but the hostile knights furiously demanded he stop telling such obvious lies, since he would have no other reason to be here. Granada then quickly asked Berg why he had actually shown up, revealed he was just out shopping, and it was pure coincidence, which the knights completely refused to believe. Just moments earlier, Ernan had requested Seniel dust, a rare mystical item used to forge contracts with spirits. Legend says that hundreds of years ago, a legendary elf named Seniel migrated directly into the human kingdom. The king back then ordered him to create a powerful supplement so humans could forge contracts with spirits. That is how the famous Seniel dust was born. Berg is sure that with it she will not need talent, which actually saddens her because she feels he is overestimating her. Almost no mana left inside that tower. Not hide it or place it in hostile areas, since the heroes must be able to find it. You and I both know it is impossible without that dust. Berg realized she is aiming for a high-ranking spirit, and she could not deny it. In her past life, Vernon successfully contracted a high-ranking spirit at the age of 27. When news broke, the entire continent was deeply shocked. It was an exceptionally rare feat for a human, but now she is going to achieve it 7 years earlier. Vernon admitted she wanted to surprise him, making Berg wonder if leaving the palace to live in the tower had changed her, eventually agreeing to get the dust to boost the tower's power. Now Berg wanted to wrap up this battle quickly because he needs to go fetch that Seniel dust, while KD froze in absolute shock at his insane display of power. The impact was so devastating that it completely destroyed the entire surrounding landscape. Berg was already preparing to leave. Proved a hero never backs down, as KD managed to survive completely unharmed while shielding her men. She declared a hero's aura carries the power to wipe out the entire demon race, making them the natural enemy of any demon king. But this place is incredibly dangerous. Surrounded by impassable mountains and deadly monsters, humans could never even dream of building here. Besides, she did not belong in that suffocating royal palace. On the battlefield, ready to execute Jespine's ultimate and deadliest sword technique, the Crescent Moon Slash. Legendary technique releases a massive burst of aura capable of completely wiping out any opponent in its path. An insanely difficult move to master, taught only to the absolute greatest swordsman in the entire imperial family. As a low-ranking princess deemed completely worthless, her family had decided to sell her off to a foreign king. As we always say, she refuses to let that old creep control her life, fiercely fighting against a cruel and unjust destiny. That's why let's dive into how she begged her imperial swordsmanship instructor to train her day and night, desperate to become a true hero and not just some princess. Being the Demon King meant they would finally recognize her as a real savior, winning the freedom she craved to decide who she would marry once and for all. Not care at all, and decided to plant it right here. He immediately sowed the mystical seed, feeding it with his own blood, but Verg shattered her dreams, easily neutralizing her technique while praising her, totally clueless it was her ultimate move. Still, as the hero, she obviously wasn't going to die so easily in this clash. Keed paled with pure terror upon witnessing the overwhelming power of a true demon king, while Verg smirked, realizing that as both princess and hero, she would be useful in many ways. Negotiate with him while her knights rushed to her aid, seeing she was in deep trouble, and a colossal explosion erupted. Now pay close attention here as reinforcements arrive and realize the blast came from intense demonic energy, so they immediately jumped into action to treat all the wounded knights. Survivor revealed the Demon King captured Kaid, and those black flames confirmed it was the dreaded ruler of the Urgist Mountains. Upon arriving at the tower, Kaid was locked in the underground dungeon, and asked if her name was Aiel, complaining about the useless junk Verg brought. Verg clarified she was Kaid of Jespin. Gordon complained bitterly, because this was a direct violation of every single rule in the protocol. The 9th Imperial Princess, who would now be living with her on the 4th floor, ordering her to heal the princess's wounds since she could prove highly useful. Vernon agreed, though she demanded to know why he brought another princess, to which Verg casually admitted he just found her along the way, constantly kidnapped princesses to farm demonic energy points. Confused, she asked what exactly those points were. Verg almost started explaining until he remembered she was just a prisoner who shouldn't be getting classified information. So he ordered her to forget the whole thing and go get his powder already. Meanwhile, Verg cursed himself for getting so used to having her around all the time, treating her way too casually, and forcing himself to remember she's nothing but a simple prisoner. Just when you thought things would calm down, news of the princess's kidnapping spreads like wildfire across the entire continent. The hero headquarters, the High Command demanded that Cargill reveal the absolute truth, asking him if he also planned on trampling the pride of a true demon king. Ashamed, he confessed he failed to locate the demon king's mysterious tower, taking full responsibility for his massive failure. The leaders told him not to worry about it, since punishing him would scare off any future heroes, leaving Cargill deeply grateful for their immense compassion. However, they pointed out that kidnapping the 9th princess of Jespine completely changes everything. The Empire is demanding a grand hero crusade, so they wanted his take since he was actually on the scene. Bill lamented the situation, admitting that even he couldn't track down the location of that tower, so he suggested sending a small scouting unit first instead of launching a massive crusade right away. Once they find it, taking it down will be incredibly easy. The Demon King was actually strong. He wouldn't hide his tower. This clever argument completely sold the High Command. Even if he acts weirdly, a powerless coward will never pose a real threat to them. Berg knows very well that this causes deep resentment, since it is hard to deny a belief carved into your bones. With that settled, the leader agreed to temporarily delay the crusade until they could pinpoint the tower. After all, Cargill's advice was extremely valuable. Cargill left knowing he accomplished exactly what Verg wanted, using his influence to stall the Grand Hero Crusade. Smart play bought them precious time. Immediately, Gordon passed the whole report along to Verg. Verg told Gordon to keep a close eye on Cargill. Internally, he was sweating, never expecting the Hero Guild to plan such a massive raid. And if not for Cargill, everything would have ended terribly, making the choice to turn him into a vassal his absolute best decision. Nada and Cargill working on the outside, they will delay the crusade. Plus, capturing the new princess lets him farm those precious demonic energy points. He can use the Armani orb. He can transform Cade into a powerhouse combat asset. Roger is reinforcing the tower to the teeth, while Krutu continues spreading his influence everywhere. He used to think the exact same way, until death completely changed his entire perspective on life. Let's see if this high-ranking spirit can actually change her destiny. Alright, you and I are about to watch how a simple tower becomes so overpowered that absolutely no hero will ever dare to attack it. Only then can he focus on the outside world and launch his revenge against the heroes who humiliated him in his past life. Especially that insufferable smart aleck who mocked him constantly. Legendary Senil powder hidden in Amur, a city packed with powerful mages and heroes, widely known as the capital of magic technology. The real challenge is getting it without getting caught, which is going to be incredibly tough. Right in the middle of the world's biggest magic market, we see a rundown shop on the outskirts called Gettison's Personal Paradise, whose owner just heard some shocking news. Hero's journey ended in total disaster. The 9th princess, Jaspine, has been captured, and if that weren't enough, they also captured the useless hero Roger, myth famous for being completely useless in a fight. Emma walks in none other than Burge, who is searching for that senile powder.